I will call this meeting of the Village Board to order, and we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we could just remain standing for one more minute, we'll have a moment of silence in memory of 9/11. Thank you all very much. So at this point, I will turn this over to our village administrator for mayoral appointments. Please,
Okay,
Scott.
mayoral appointments. Resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the hiring of 2 part-time police officers effective September 15, 2025, not exceeding 20 hours weekly, through the end of December 2025. Police officers Brian Barton at $27 an hour and Thomas Gross Jr. at $27 an hour.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Discussion. So these were the police officers that the village had to go through the Suffolk County training last year, and they were actually seasonal officers this past summer with the village. So we're now going to keep them on through the fall, and then make a decision at that time. But, so that's what this is. We have a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye.
Sorry, one other quick question. I've had a couple people ask me,
Yeah.
will they be able to enforce moving violations? as
Yes,
opposed
they're
to
full,
summer
they're
good?
full officers. They're not
Okay.
TCOs. Yeah,
Thank
they're
you for
full officers.
clarifying. I vote aye.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, Scott.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the hiring of Mohammed Omar Farouk as a crossing guard at a per diem rate of $75 effective September 12, 2025.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Resolved that the mayor appoints and requests a motion of the Board of Trustees to approve the following board appointment. Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation, Amy Brown Frazier, alternate member with the term ending June 30, 2026.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
And discussion. So Amy grew up here in Southampton, attended Southampton High School. She then moved to Connecticut, where she raised her family, but her family has now all grown, and so she and her husband have moved back to Southampton. And of interest, her father, Dr. Sherburne Brown, was the chairman of the ARB for 15 years, back, I think, starting in the 1970s. And so she wishes to carry on the family tradition of giving back in this way, so we're glad to have her offer her services as an alternate on the ARB. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. All right, so here we'll go to the public hearings. The first is a public hearing amending zoning code changes 116-2B, words defined, 116-23B, special conditions and safeguards for certain uses, list of uses, and 116-17, minimum residential floor area of the Village Code of Southampton by adding language creating a special exception, uses, and special conditions for workforce housing developments, live-work units, and a new single-family detached dwelling in the HRO and OD, that's the Hampton Road Office District, and the Office District along North Sea Road, in the Village of Southampton, and updating the related use charts accordingly. So I will make a motion to open this public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And I believe, Sage, we have Noah Levine from BFJ zooming in to give us an update on his report. So if you could let him in, that'd be great. Thank you.
While he's doing that, we just made 2 small changes.
Sure, I'll
to the-
turn to
yeah,
council for that,
to
those
the
comments.
proposed code on the recommendations of the village building inspector. One was to define what an active volunteer is, such that they might get preference in the lottery. However, this is
So fire department, ambulance,
Correct.
ocean rescue. Yeah.
right. So they would have to be members for 12 months before they can make an application, and then they would have to remain as LoSAP qualifying members, active members during their residency. That's the one condition.
Okay.
And the only other change was, this is a section that had nothing to do with what we were doing, but while we're in this section, the building code changed the ceiling height requirement from 7.5 feet to 7 feet, so we took that out and just said conforms with the New York State Building Code, so that when they change it again, we don't have to change the code. So
Very good.
that's it. Otherwise,
right.
we're good.
Thank you, Eileen. So Noah, you're on, so please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for inviting, excuse me, thank you for inviting me to speak and present our memo. I'll be quick and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. Essentially, what we were asked to do was to look at the potential amount of development that might be expected with the zoning changes proposed for the OD and the HRO districts. It's our understanding that that was the purpose of the districts, that the change was to address a critical issue, which was to provide some affordable workforce housing. This was a need that was addressed in the comprehensive plan. This is a challenge facing communities nationwide, of course, but it's especially pronounced in Southampton and across the East End, where high land costs make it difficult for middle-income workers to live locally. And many are forced to commute long distances, which strains the roadways, but also makes it harder for local businesses to find employees. So we looked, we took a hard look, which is what you're required to do under seeker, at the potential development in these areas. I did this with the help of Alex Wallach, the planning director. What we did was take a superficial look parcel by parcel at how much development could be expected. So we evaluated every parcel. Some parcels that were vacant, we would score higher. Other parcels that were fully developed and aren't expected to be developed, we scored lower. We applied kind of an index for each of those parcels to see kind of what could be expected with development. The kind of key takeaway really is that development isn't constrained right now under current zoning by the zoning districts themselves. They're really constrained by the requirements from the Suffolk County Health Department for sanitary wastewater requirements. So right now, theoretically, densities over, more dense than single-family homes could be built, and those groundwater management districts are really what's controlling density. So with the new zoning, it looks like the only place that could achieve higher densities without the advent of sewer or on-site wastewater treatment facilities is the south side of Hampton Road, which is in the HRO district. The south side is in Groundwater Management District 4, compared to the north side and North Sea Road, which is in Groundwater Management District 5, which is more restrictive. So based on that, we anticipate that in the future with the zoning, you might see 8 additional units without additional infrastructure. That would include 6 workforce units. But that doesn't really include sewer. The big question is, if sewer were developed, that would unlock additional development. The potential increases. You could see some modest growth. We estimate that the sewer could support roughly between 50 to 75 new units. That could include between 16 to 75 workforce units, depending on which option is taken, whether it's all affordable or partially affordable. The development would be distributed, gradually over time. It wouldn't all happen at once. Also another thing to consider is that sewer implementation would require its own review under seeker. So those impacts would be looked at again. As part of our analysis, we also looked at traffic impacts, both with and without sewer. And in both scenarios, you actually see a potential reduction in traffic. I know it's might be hard to believe, but when you think about the fact that commercial uses are allowed there now, or if the fact that some commercial uses might be replaced by residential uses, commercial uses, whether they be retail or office, have much higher chip generation compared to residential uses at the densities we're talking about. So, we did an analysis. I can go through the details of that, but we don't expect there to be significant traffic impacts due to the zoning changes. The impacts are, somewhat minimal, But with sewer, you could see some more modest growth. I'm happy to talk about the assumptions that went into our analysis, but those are the kind of the key takeaways.
And obviously, this allows for the development of 100% workforce housing if the applicant chooses to go that route. And is it would you say it's accurate to say that actually it's less restrictive if you go 100% workforce than if you do it on a split basis?
Well, as as the zoning says right now, you could go up to 12 units per acre with all affordable development. However, you can go up to 8 units, I believe, if a quarter of the units are affordable.
Right, so then there's
And-
an advantage, sorry, I want to make sure this point is made clear. So there is an advantage if an applicant decides to make it 100% workforce because they get 4 additional units.
Yeah, and you see that advantage more if sewer were to be built. Right now, it would just be impossible to achieve that density unless an on-site sewer treatment facility were built. And we did a kind of a survey of the parcels, and there really aren't a lot of large parcels in the area, and the densities don't appear to be significant enough to, I don't know if the economics support that kind of investment for development. Anything's possible, but we kind of went on the assumption that none of the properties would build their own on-site sewage treatment facility, but that could occur for sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Noah. So either members from the board can speak, or I'd like to invite anyone up from the public that would like to speak on this topic.
Yeah, and this is sort of a rule for the entire evening. Everybody's going to be given 3 minutes to speak. At 2:45, I'm going to remind you that your 3 minutes is about to wrap up. Well, so when you speak, if you've been hearing the comments over and over that you want to say, we would ask that perhaps you might want to consider waiving what you have to say in the interest of brevity so we can get on with the business of the village.
But this is the public hearing just for this change of zoning code to allow workforce housing in the office district. So if anyone would like to speak on that, please raise your hand, come forward. Although, there we go.
I just have a question, actually. So I understand, is this on?
Should be on.
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, now it is. I understand that they can get more units if it's workforce housing, which we all know, and everyone's here because of it. We desperately need. But what's to incentivize the builder to make it workforce housing if they can sell 1 unit for the same price as 10 workforce housing units? Or
Well, again, it wouldn't be 1 unit. They have to have a minimum of at least 1 workforce housing unit in anything they do. So there could be 2, you're right, and 1 would have to be workforce and 1 could
right,
be
but
market.
even though the numbers
Yeah.
would be more, the money wouldn't necessarily be more because
It depends on obviously what programs they might take advantage of. The town has programs as well as others that have programs that actually you can take advantage of to get some of the money to offset your costs of building one of these developments. So there, again, you'd have to do the math, but there could be a situation where someone wants to take advantage of some of the programs that the town and others have that would help offset the cost of doing that development for 100% workforce. Does that make sense at all?
yeah, I just know that Sag Harbor put that in their village master plan about 12 years ago, and
Yeah.
not one builder took them up on it. So
Right.
I just hope that, excuse me, I hope that the incentives are enough to actually create some workforce housing.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I mean, obviously, we can also talk to Curtis Highsmith, who works for a group that tries to bring in workforce housing. Also, Jay Deasing is our representative on the town's workforce housing fund, and certainly we can invite both of them to come in and talk about the incentives that they have that could help, again, create more workforce housing in the village of Southampton.
I think that'd be great.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public want to speak? Pippa?
Hi, I'm Pippa Gerard. I live on Hill Street. With the workforce housing, which I agree we all want to do as much as we can, I have done some research of other areas that have had done workforce housing and affordable housing. Depending on the area you're in, sometimes those are the same thing. Sometimes workforce housing is one thing, affordable housing is something else. But what does seem to be consistent is that when a developer develops workforce housing or affordable housing, it often is then sold 2 or 3 years later. When it's owned by the town or the village or the actual municipality and monitored, and kept going, then it does remain workforce housing and affordable housing in perpetuity. I don't know. I know we started a community housing fund a few years ago in addition to the community preservation fund, but I would encourage the board and our consultant here to see how we can do things so Southampton Village could actually own some of the affordable housing and therefore monitor it, make sure that however you're establishing, if it's not the workforce housing but affordable housing, that the people meet the income criteria or what have you.
Yeah.
Because if it's just done by local developers or other developers, it often falls apart.
This proposal was really to address rental units, not.
Yeah, but who's the owner renting?
Well, there would.
Okay.
This is a question for council. Isn't it the case, council, under this law, that the C of O and possibly even a deed restriction would require that workforce unit was dedicated as a workforce unit and not able to become in perpetuity?
Okay, but sometimes the developer then goes bankrupt and then things get sold. So it has happened many places that way. So just something I would encourage us to focus on.
No, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Anyone else in the public? Okay. Anyone else on the board want to speak on this?
Sure. My position is that to resolve the issues that were just raised is to pass code that only allows for affordable housing. I wrote something here just a little bit here, but converting an underused office district to dedicated workforce housing will create affordable homes close to jobs, reduce commuter congestion, stabilize the local year-round workforce, and strengthen the local economy. But it requires careful zoning changes, clear affordability rules, and targeted subsidies and financing. So why 100% workforce housing in the office district makes sense? Close the job housing mismatch. Southampton's seasonal and year-round employers face a shortage of workers who can afford to live locally. Workforce housing lets people live near work, reducing long commutes and vacancies in service jobs. We reuse underutilized office land. Many small downtown office parcels are less productive than offices today. Housing is a higher value community use that increases vibrancy and foot traffic for local businesses. Climate and traffic benefits. Housing near employment centers lowers vehicles miles traveled and parking demands, supporting sustainability and making better use of existing municipal infrastructure. Economic resilience. Year-round residents. Stabilize retail and service sectors beyond the summer season. Owners of local businesses benefit from a reliable labor pool. Local precedent and funding tools exist. The town has housing funds and workforce housing programs. Example, the Community Housing Fund that can subsidize constructions or operations. We also should pursue New York State housing grants of Suffolk County workforce housing programs, including any workforce-oriented allocations for essential workers. In conclusion, Southampton already recognizes workforce housing needs and has funds and regulatory tools. Repurposing an underused office district is a practical, place-based response that aligns housing with local economic needs. With a careful designed overlay, financing package, and pilot project, Southampton can create long-term, locally prioritized homes that keep the people who staff its year-round economy live in the community. If instead we allow for regular housing, that is what is being built and sold to mainly part-timers, we are not creating a situation where we have people living in the village and invested in the village, but all we're doing is creating more luxury apartments with a minimal workforce housing. So my proposal is make this 100% workforce housing, and there is the financing and the wherewithal in order to develop it. Thank you.
Don, you want to say anything?
Thank you, Trustee Simeone. You know, looking at the context of the village over the last several years with respect to skepticism and reactions to workforce housing being provided, I'm kind of interested in this proposal primarily because it kind of introduces it in a moderate way, so that the skepticism and the concerns about traffic, the concerns about the stresses on ambulance, fire, and police, you know, can be measured. So I'm kind of for this because it's a moderate step in that direction.
And I would just say that there are the additional incentives to allow someone to do 100%. They get actually additional units on the property. You know, I'm also thinking that by allowing some to be market rate, you may have people in the village who want to retire from their single-family home elsewhere in the village and move into a smaller unit, such as an apartment here, but they wouldn't qualify maybe for workforce housing, but it would allow them to still remain in the village and not be driven out of the village entirely because of the cost of homes in this village. But I'm going to turn to Rob.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mayor. Noah, a couple questions for you, if I could. Did you and Alex either work on or think about or have any other resource that might tell you how many workforce housing units the village should kind of be aiming for to help facilitate or encourage here in the village over any period of time?
We didn't do that kind of analysis as part of this process.
Okay.
We could, but you know, the demand you know, is very high throughout the East End. You know, that's kind of a separate task, but it's certainly something we can look at.
Okay.
And develop some, you know, some number. I just don't have that at my disposal for you.
And did you guys, similarly, did you discuss or are you familiar with any sort of kind of owner-operator type code that would target this type of incentive, a zoning incentive, for people who are operating a business at an owned property and want to house their own employees, i.e. wouldn't be even a market, a workforce housing market unit, it would be their employee market?
So how would that fit into this particular code? Is that what you're asking?
Well, what I'm wondering is, could we alternatively think about allowing businesses that have underutilized office space or maybe even fully utilized space in these districts to give the same zoning bonus consideration for them to either retrofit or build available GFA if they have it with the bonus to house their own employees on the site? Is that an option that was discussed or considered at all?
If I understand you correctly, I mean, there's nothing preventing a business from doing that right now.
Right. What I'm wondering is, yeah, there are some codes that limit to that, that's to Len's point in terms of starting out, that start out with that as a first step to say, we're not going to let you even put this to the broader workforce market, but if you want to build something to accommodate your employees, here's the bonus available, to see how many existing local businesses might be interested in that as a more direct solution for their workforce.
I mean, I'll have to take a closer look at the zoning code, but I think that would be permitted. I do still think that no matter what, the wastewater kind of constraints are going to be the factor that is, you know, the limiting factor.
Okay.
So even if you have an office use that doesn't really generate a whole lot of wastewater, the restrictions are pretty, you know, they're pretty restricted regardless.
Yep.
So you're going to be limited on the amount of development you can build without some additional infrastructure.
Thanks. So just a couple quick comments. You know, this is, I know we're going to probably talk about traffic later. This is a similar and very related topic to traffic.
Yes, indeed.
Because, among other things, and the nature of both of them is that they're regional issues. The town has done some work on this. I don't want to misquote. I believe I heard that the town has targeted a 10-year plan to create 5,000 total housing units, of which 25% would be workforce housing units in the town. That's 1,250. And it feels to me like we should be using some kind of metric or framework to say what, relative to that or on our own metric, what's the target for workforce housing for the village, and design a plan that, even as a first step or as a a way of putting our toe in the water, that gets us toward that goal. I'm not aware that we have that now. I'll also just say, you mentioned Jay Deasing. I've had a number of conversations with him on this, and I don't want to put him on the spot or speak for him, but I'll tell you what I heard or thought I heard from him, which was, quote, "We don't need more market units in this village. We need workforce housing." So I'm generally in favor, if we're going to stick our toe in the water, of sticking our toe in the water with either owner-operator legislation or something that starts off restricted to 100%, which we could then change if there's no uptake on it. Those are my comments.
Roy?
I think it's important to emphasize the point you made, Noah, which is that the current constraint on the development of this area is the Suffolk County Health Department, or they're not allow anybody to develop this area further because they wouldn't allow any more cesspools to be incorporated.
Well, yeah, sorry to interrupt, Roy, except if someone wanted to put in a mini or micro plant,
Well, they
which
could.
the economics of a market rate unit hybrid might well allow.
But my point being that I am a strong proponent of the sewer, and I really think this village needs a sewer, and I'm working as hard as I can with the rest of the board to realize that. But we have to be aware that with the sewer comes the prospect, as Noah's study revealed, of additional, in this one area, 75 units. And as Trustee Coburn said, we're going to be talking about traffic. And even though your analysis showed that commercial applications have more traffic than residential applications, this area right now is underused. There aren't too many stores. The offices aren't too busy. There is not a lot of traffic being generated from this area. And if all of a sudden we have 75 units there, I think not only would that create traffic, but the building of those 75 units will create traffic. And we have to be very aware if we're going to, we need workforce housing, so let's get that and not get what we don't want, which is just more people and more cars and more construction and more stuff. So I'm just making a cautionary statement here that, yes, we need workforce housing, but it's tied to the sewer, and we have to be very careful as we move forward with our sewer plans to ensure that we're controlling and guiding the growth in the direction that we want it to go.
I have a comment on that. And the beauty of this, with respect to the sewer, is that our first phase of our sewer plan is for the business district. So it kind of fits pretty well with this proposal also. You understand what I'm saying?
And then I would add that the proposal also allows for somebody to have their business on the first floor, the ground floor of the structure, and then live above it. So living above the store, so to speak, which I think actually there would be some people in this village that would like to take advantage of that, especially some professionals that might want to have an office downstairs and then live right on site, and they wouldn't have to create any traffic at all, except when they go to the grocery market or the post office or whatever. But they would be working on site, and so basically they would just be going downstairs to their office during the day and upstairs at night. But anyway, we'll keep this hearing open. Oh, sorry, Elizabeth.
I was just interested in one question. What qualifies you for workforce housing? Is there a salary that you have to?
Actually, it follows the AMI, which is calculated for Suffolk County. Actually, Noah, do you want to just answer that quickly? Because I know that it's actually all included in here, but just for the public's edification, maybe just explain how it works. It's based on AMI up to 135% of AMI, so it's above the average, but limited to 135% of AMI. But you want to discuss that, Noah, briefly?
I think you're mostly correct. I just thought the number was 120%, so I need to.
No, it's 135.
It's 135.
130 maybe?
130, yeah.
I think it
130,
gets
sorry,
up to,
130.
gets up to a household income level of something like $220,000 of income for a household to be able to qualify.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we did an analysis for the project on Hill Street, and I think we
Right.
looked at these kind of the details of what that would be.
And then the rent that could be charged is a percentage of their income. Correct? Yeah. Anyway, so, sorry, Elizabeth.
What project on Hill Street are you talking about?
Oh,
The
the
71 Hill
71 Hill
Street.
Street. This- No, it's not built yet. It's where the Southampton Inn is across the street, across Veridian away from the Southampton Inn.
And it will include workforce housing.
$220,000 a year salary. I mean, that's
That's
a
the maximum.
That's the
Yeah.
maximum. It can be less than that.
That's still a lot of money. So that's not. I mean, those are middle class job. I mean, those are.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It could be a teacher, could be a
Yeah,
policeman.
that's
but
great.
We want to have homes for them here in the village.
That's
yeah.
I
great.
think
Yeah.
it's from 80 to 130, so it could be less.
Yeah, it could be less,
There's a
definitely. I'm
minimum.
saying with the upper limit. Yeah. Okay, so if there are no final comments, Sage, is there anyone on Zoom that wanted to speak on this? Okay, then I will make a motion to keep this open
15 months.
until the meeting in October at this point.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Eileen, I'm going to let you take this one on the
Okay.
secret.
Public hearing number 2 is a hearing to amend Chapter 54 of the Village Code, which is the Environmental Quality Review section, by amending Type 1 and Type 2 actions under SECRA. We discussed it the last time. Under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, they provide a list of Type 1 and Type 2 actions. That changes the extent of the review that's required, environmental review that's required. Municipalities are allowed to create their own lists of Type 1 and Type 2 actions. We have our own list. What we're doing here is removing the issuance of a wetland special permit from the Type 1 list, because in most situations, that full environmental review is just simply not necessary. And then under the Type 2 actions, we are adding these workforce housing special exception uses under the Type 2 list. Has the live work special exception, the workforce housing special exception, and approval of a sketch plan under Chapter 97.4. So that's essentially what we're doing.
Yeah, this is just really simplifying and making more efficient and streamlined our code in terms of SECRA. So I will make a motion to open this public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone in the public wish to speak on this issue, this topic? I mean, Sage, I'm guessing there's no one on Zoom that wants to talk on this topic. Anyone on the board would like to speak about this?
It's as plain as it sounds.
Yeah.
I've done land use work in a few different jurisdictions out here, and this, for good jurisdictions, they do this kind of thing all the time, to modify things based on experience, so
Right.
That's what
it's
we're doing.
pretty straightforward.
So with that, I will make a motion to close this public hearing for amending Chapter 54 of the Village Code, Environmental Quality Review. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go to correspondence to the board.
Yes, we have a little bit of correspondence here. Correspondence from Ellen Herman, who raises concerns with new traffic patterns on Lee and Captain's Neck. Correspondence from Allison and Doug Fegan, who oppose the traffic light at Halsey. Correspondence from Louis Pizzanelli, who traffic solution suggestions for Lee, Captain, Somerset, Bishops, and Corrigan. Correspondence from Megan Noonan, who opposes no left turns on Lee and Captain's Neck. Correspondence from Elizabeth Pine Singer, who opposes traffic light at Halsey. Correspondence from Lauren Santo Domingo, who opposes the traffic light at Halsey. Catherine Patterson Kempner, who opposes the traffic light at Halsey. Correspondence from Michael and Wendy Esposito, who oppose the traffic light at Halsey. Marina Antonia Paterna Castillo opposes the traffic light at Halsey. Correspondence from Thomas Walker, who opposes the traffic light at Halsey. Correspondence from Stephen and Jennifer Pinkos, who oppose the traffic light at Halsey. Correspondent from Clifton Knight, who actually opposes the pilot program in County Road 39. Correspondence from Tom Vaser, who opposes village's dictations of traffic routes and rerouting. Correspondence from Mitchell Caniff, who opposes no left turns on Lee and Captain's Neck, and who also opposes the traffic light at Halsey. Correspondence from Lillian Cohen, who opposes no left turn on Lee and Captain's Neck. Correspondence from Gigi Howard, who opposes the traffic light at Halsey. Correspondence from Leith and Joe McLaughlin, who advocate for the widening of Road 39 to assist in traffic issues.
Okay, thank you all very much for those letters. And now we will open it up to general public comment. So why don't we start with you, sir? Please come to the podium and introduce yourself. Yes.
My name is Jerry Rosengarten. I've lived in the village for 30-some-odd years, and I've watched what's happened over that period of time. It's obvious to me, maybe to everyone else, that traffic is in fact closing down the village. I mean, it's literally impossible to travel through the village at specific times. Okay? It affects construction, it affects workers. It is but I'm now just saying what everyone knows. So let's talk about how to handle it. Because what's been happening is we've changed direction on streets. You can't turn here, put a light here. It's all baby steps. Can't do that. We have to get to the point of really making it happen. To make it happen, you need land set aside for shared driving, or driving share, okay? So that the traffic doesn't get into the village. Not just the villages, East Hampton, West Hampton, it's everywhere. So where's this land gonna come from? First, two things you have to do. You have to penalize people who are driving with two people in a car. You have to basically give out stickers to residents so they don't have to deal with that basis. They can travel as they have.
Okay.
Then you have a parking area where the cars, before they come into the village at all, right, can park, consolidate people so that two workers who work in the same home could get together and share on a regular basis. Then you have to penalize. You have to penalize anyone coming in who doesn't have the sticker and has only one person in the car. I'm traveling and looking at these lines, right? And there are, out of 20 cars, 17 have only one person. So, I mean, it's obvious to me that we don't have any more land to spread the roads. We're maxed. It's not just our problem, it's all over the country. We should be a leader and make that step. Now, where do we get the land? You have the Shinnecock Nation, who has land.
15 more seconds, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
You have about 15 more seconds.
15 more
I'm
seconds.
sorry.
Shinnecock Nation has land. They are fighting with the town on what I consider, I know why the town is fighting, but they don't have to. We can negotiate something with them for land and their gas station or whatever else they want, as long as we don't add to traffic. You have land, also the Pine Barrens. Thousands of acres of Pine Barrens. You can take and, in fact, raise some of that land and have parking.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm done?
No, that's all right. We're
Yeah,
on a little
and we have a lot of
over 3
people here,
minutes, so.
but I think we all get your point, sir, and we can work on with the county and the town to try and figure out possibly additional parking, when you enter the village or at the train station, so that people could pick up their vehicles at that point.
So the question I have for you right now is, how does this happen? How do we accelerate this happening? I know we have meetings like this, and you have people throwing out different things about light.
Yeah.
No, you guys came to decisions about specific places that you're going to make turns, right?
Yeah.
And I have all the people who are objecting to that.
Well, exactly. We're
What I
going to hear
would
that.
suggest,
Yeah.
sorry, what I would suggest is that actually all the wonderful ideas that you had outlined, bring them to me. I'll make sure the board gets copies of each, and also all of your questions you can bring to me, and I'll make sure the board answers them
You
for
wrote
you.
a wonderful article in Southampton Press.
Yes, we saw it.
Yes,
Yeah.
my
Very good.
father's read it, he cut it out, and
Okay.
put it on my desk. I'll get in touch with you, actually.
Lebanon has.
I need your number.
Okay.
But
That's-
it is, it's discussions with the town, the county, and the state. And because this is a regional problem, this is not
This is
only
a
the
hard
Village of
problem.
Southampton problem.
It's a
We
very
get that.
hard problem,
Absolutely.
okay? But it can be solved.
Yeah.
I understand, I
Thank
agree,
you,
but
sir.
we have so many people.
We have to
up
have
on
some other
stage.
people
Thank
speak.
you, though.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, why don't we go to the back to Peter Suckach. I know Peter, he lives right on Halsey Neck Lane. He's going to talk about the traffic light.
I have one more letter. I got this in today. I guess I didn't get on the roster. I want to observe this traffic mess as long as possible before I made these observations.
Yes.
So I'm going to read my letter quickly, and then hopefully if I have time. So, Mr. Mayor and trustees, I wanted to voice my concerns regarding this new traffic pilot program. Having been a resident here at 56 Halsey Neck Lane for over 5 decades, I share the same frustrations we all do with the worsening congestion problem here in the village. Having arrived late to this debate, I want to thank Mayor Manger, the trustees, the working group, and the traffic consultants who have worked so hard to try and satisfy this congestion problem we all share. I would like to pass on my observations to this date with the pilot program since it's been implemented. Traffic on Halsey Neck Lane is now backed up to at least Ox Pasture at times between 3 and 7. I'm sure Ox is backed up all the way to First Neck. This is September. What is this going to look like in July? Traffic that doesn't heed the warnings that do end up turning right on Lee and Captain's Neck in frustration are racing to Halsey, making U-turns to get in the line for the light, most times directly in front of our house. These are 7-point turns for trucks and trailers with big trailers. This is a safety issue. I have many videos to provide if you'd like to see them. An unintended consequence of the traffic is the motor noise coming from all of these trucks, gunning it all at once to try and make it through the green light. This is unbearable with our house being 65 feet from the road. I also hear the trucks accelerating as the light turns green heading east on Hill Street in the AM. This wasn't the case in the past as cars and trucks just muddled along Hill Street without a light. I've also heard horns honking many times in frustration. Somehow, things were more cordial without the light, as drivers were letting their fellow traffic sufferers in queue without incident or honking horns. Having a light at Halsey Neck Lane is not a solution. I understand the frustration the residents of Captains and Lee are experiencing, but every road not allowed to turn left from south of Hill Street and every road not allowed to turn right from north of Hill Street only amplifies the problem on the others. As stated by your own traffic consultant, Ryan, I'm sorry I don't know his name, I was watching the videos.
Yeah.
At the July 22nd meeting, quote, anytime you close off an avenue, people are going to find other ways, unquote. It's obvious. We all know that. Halsey Neck Lane is already one of the busiest streets in the village. Adding a traffic light and restricting left turns at Lee and Captain's will make Halsey Neck take most of the burden.
You have about 15 seconds left, just so you.
None of us want a light on Halsey Neck, on Hill Street at all. Not even the people that currently punted it from Lee to Halsey are in favor. A light on Hill Street will forever change the character of the village and sets a horrible precedent. There needs to be a comprehensive change. If the pilot program was so successful on County Road 39, why hasn't it been implemented?
We have to wrap up there.
The Board of
I'm sorry. I don't make the rules.
Thank you, Peter.
I'll ask a question. May I? Or
Sure,
can I?
quickly.
Why wasn't the program on 39 implemented? If,
I'm gonna let Trustee Zananti answer that.
It's the county road.
right?
The pilot was conducted in conjunction between the town and the county with our full support. It was successful. It kept traffic off of residential streets. Next week, on the 16th, I am leading a delegation to go speak to the county executive to ask him to make it a permanent thing. So that's on the calendar, and that's what we're doing.
It was done as a pilot, just as we're doing this as a pilot. And so that it was only for 2 weeks, but now we're trying to get them to do it full time.
Right. I just want to add that all of these roads that are closed off currently from left and rights, from north and south. All of these are just bleeding further east and making it more difficult for people
No,
on
I
those
get it,
streets.
I get it.
So at some point, you guys are placating the loudest voices in the room, and those that aren't actively objecting
Right,
are
okay.
getting hammered. So,
Yep.
anyway.
I get it.
Thank you
Peter.
for all your hard work.
We've got some more folks here that want to speak. So, why don't we go back here? Who in the back here? Yeah, sir, go ahead. And please state your name. Yeah.
My name is Randy Knopp. I'm a full-time resident, lived here 15 years. I also live on Halsey Neck Lane. The reason I'm standing, didn't get a seat, is I couldn't get out of my driveway to get here on time. I took my dog for a walk on the beach this afternoon. It took me 25 minutes to go less than a mile down Halsey Neck Lane. Can't live like that. So people that, it might be a solution for some people, but you're creating an incredible headache and a problem for other people, mostly people who live on Halsey Neck Lane and surrounding streets. So anyone who thinks that that's a solution, as you can see by all the people that are here and writing letters, it's not a solution for a lot of the people who live in that neighborhood.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I would have written a letter, and by the way, I have a lot of photos that show this of traffic up and down, and you can't come out my driveway. If you can't come out my driveway, there's other streets, other houses to the left and right of me. You can't come out of their driveway either.
Sure.
So it's dangerous.
No, sure. Understood.
So, I think you're opening yourselves up to lawsuits because there's an accident that's going to happen coming out of at that time. So.
Okay. Why don't we go to this young gentleman? Come forward.
Hello.
Are you guys together?
Yes, this is my son. My name
mother.
is Gigi Howard. This is Southworth. We moved here permanently from the city exactly a year ago, 24 Halsey Neck Lane. We left the city because of the traffic, and it made us crazy. And it was just a good life for
There's even
us
more
too.
traffic.
And we love it here. I've been coming out here since, I'm not from here, as you can tell, for like 35 years, since I was 20, so I was 55 now, and I love it, love it. And so we've never been so happy. This happened with the traffic. I get the traffic in the summer. Yeah, that's everywhere, right? But this is a nightmare for us. There are people turning around in my driveway, and my gate keeps going, like opening. And then he can't get out of the driveway because of the cars, and he's blindsided, so he can't take his bike. Do you want to talk?
Sure. So it's super dangerous for me to like go out of my driveway. I'm like blinded. I can't see anything. So there's a ton of cars, and then I can't see. It's just traffic. And it's just like sometimes, even in the morning, I go get my mom coffee, but sometimes at like evening times, like the traffic times, I just like to bike and just have some fun. Like it's relaxing, and I don't know.
That's good.
All right.
That's good.
Yeah, no, I thank you very much. Thank you, Southworth, and thank you, Mom, for coming down. Yeah,
Of course. Thanks.
Howard. All right. We'll go to this woman over here. Sorry, I saw you had your hand up earlier.
Hi, my name is Carmel Culver, and I live on Corrigan Street with my husband. We live fairly close to Hill Street, in a home very close to the road with a half a hedge that comes to about here. So I've had a very good view of what's been going on with the traffic, not only on Corrigan, but all over the neighborhood, because we have a dog that we walk 4 times a day in every single street in the area. And on Monday at about 4:30 from my picture window, cars were flying in both directions at such a high rate of speed. I went out to the end of the driveway and couldn't believe it. I called the village police, and they were very, very nice and responsive, and I have to say I've had to call them every day this week and had the same response. And they asked me to come here and talk to you. And they said, well, this is a pilot program. I said, I understand, but somebody's going to get run over out here. That's how bad it was. And they did send some officers down to the end of the block to try to keep people from speeding up and trying to make the right. Tonight, they're on Bishop's Lane, so people are coming up and speeding and making the right. And I understand right, left, wherever you take the left off, they're going to come down. What they're doing is coming, of course, just like you said with your son, and making quick U-turns. They did it right in front of me, trying to make a left-hand turn the night before last, and I almost hit him because he swimped around so quickly. The police officers explained to me that they can't really monitor this, right? They cannot pull anybody over. There's too much going on, and they have no room with those cones out on Hill Street. But I agree with the young man that came up and said he can't get out on his bike. We have probably 6 or 7 young families on Corrigan Street, and the kids are out on bikes and scooters. And if you had done this program before Labor Day, I don't know what would have happened. So I just wanted to say that I really think that it's a dangerous program. And it's really made it much more difficult for everybody. Halsey Street, Bishop's Lane, Corrigan, you know, that's all Hill Street. I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, I've taken video. I haven't sent it anywhere, but I don't know. I mean, I think people would be astounded if they saw what was going on.
We are at 2:45, just so you know.
Okay, I think I'm done.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. All right. So why don't we go to Mitch?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody. So I live at 60 Halsey Neck Lane. I also, too, have moved out from the city, but I've been coming here since I was 3 years old. First access road to Cooper's Beach as a kid, living in Shinnecock Hills. It is the only way to get out to the ocean. Now, as we all know, we're past Labor Day, and again, I was shocked trying to get out of my driveway at 60 Halsey Neck Lane when I had to wait because it was bumper to bumper from Hill Street all the way up to Ox Pasture. I saw not one, but 2 people making U-turns trying to get back down that street, from walking dogs to just taking a walk to what Peter was saying about the horns. I mean, I'm back in Manhattan again. I'm here. I'm so grateful to be here. I love Southampton. I've been coming here since I was 3 years old, and now I'm a full-time resident. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? I mean, I don't want to reiterate anything. So to come up with solutions is most important. I mean, if anybody likes to ski, Aspen has a similar problem. There's one lane in, one lane out, trying to get people in. So maybe there's somebody on the city council there. You talk about busing. I love the idea of the Pine Barrens. Figuring out some solutions. And also the affordable housing. At first I was against it, but if it really is for workers and people that can stay in the village, that will help somewhat. But this pilot program, this light is an eyesore. It's like it's worse than it was all summer long. So it's horrible. I mean, I was like, so anyway, I just pray that it gets eliminated and we figure out something collectively before we just throw something. And that's why I called you and I said, how did this happen without us all kind of being made aware of that this is what's going to take place?
Mitch, can you just put your name on there?
Sure, Mitchell Caniff at 60 Halsey Neck Lane.
Yeah, I know Mitch. Yeah.
I know, but.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah, so anyway,
All right.
thank you.
Why don't we go to him and then I'll come back to you. All right.
I'm Ken Weinstein, live on Fox Hollow. I'm not going to talk about traffic.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow,
No traffic.
Ken.
About 2 years ago, when you had the representative from Johnson Controls talk about the energy project,
Yeah.
You have this on your bulletin board right out in front. And I had asked him whether the adjustment to the streetlights are going to comply with the dark sky rules. And he said yes. He lied to me and he lied to you because there was nothing done that the village is as bright as it always was, if not worse. That's number one. Number two, sidewalks. Who's responsible for the maintenance of broken sidewalks? Is that the village?
Yes. Yeah. And in fact, we've just been working on Post Crossing as well as Herrick Road, where the sidewalks have been repaired. But there's obviously more sidewalks to repair all the time.
There are many.
Yeah.
Many. Thank you.
All right. Actually, if you want to send me, Ken, a list of where you think we have to get to next, I can certainly do that.
That sounds like a lawyer's project for slip and fall cases.
No.
You sound like you're familiar with those.
No, but I've gotten letters from others, and we've gotten over to Post Crossing and Herrick Road. So please let me know about that, and we'll get DPW to put that on the list.
Sure. Oh, and who trims the trees on village property? Because my property doesn't go to the street. There's 16 feet that belongs to the village.
That's correct. That's also a village responsibility.
So I just call somebody and say, hey, it's been 20 years?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you very much. We're going to go to Jessica.
I'll try to be quick. I really kind of, Jessica Mezzacapa. I just want to say to everyone here, these guys have been working on this problem endlessly. They have 2-year terms. It is a regional problem. So let's not first of all, let's not let the traffic divide us as a village, because the people on Lee Avenue don't want to make your lives worse on Halsey Neck Lane. We're friends. We're all friends. So let's just try to keep it non-hostile and friendly and work together to come up with solutions. And we have to do it on a regional level. And thank you guys for your patience. I know it's trying and you're trying, so that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, Chris Brenner.
Hello, my name is Chris Brenner, 214 White Street, ex-chief of the Southampton Fire Department, current member of the ambulance. I just want to start by saying, even though we're here to argue about traffic and building sizes, the priority of today is to remember all the souls that we lost 24 years ago on attacks on our amazing country, whether in New York City, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, or the Pentagon. We have people that have been on this board of trustees that were in this city at the World Trade Center on 9/11. One would never know because they don't look for the attention. Now on to the business of the meeting. We have a severe problem with the traffic, and my concern is for public safety. If we have an ambulance call or a fire call west of Halsey Neck, unfortunately we're screwed, because none of our members can get up there because of the cones in the middle. If an ambulance has to go, the road's only this small. One car, we're going to take out the cones. We're going to damage an ambulance, we're going to damage a fire department vehicle, or we're going to damage our own vehicles trying to get up to Shinnecock. It's a major problem. It took my wife 37 minutes, to go from White Street Tuesday, to County Road 39. They're taking the pilot program, and all the police officers have to be there to make it look good for the village and all the local people. They're taking them off the side streets. White Street's become a raceway or a parking lot. It's either one. In the morning, it's a raceway. We just have to come up with something, and any help that you ever needed from us with the fire department or ambulance, we'd be more than happy to help out. We really do have to come up with something. So thank you guys very much, and have a great day.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to this lady, and then we'll come back to Allison.
Hello there. My name is Paula Anceloni, and I live on Pelham Street near Armand and Moses, so I'm in the heart of it all.
Yeah.
And I thank my fellow neighbors for all of their comments. I just want to make 2 comments. There are many resort communities. Aspen was mentioned, and I mentioned one in an article that I read, op-ed I wrote. Newport, Rhode Island. Many resort communities have problems such as ours, and I would hope that the board or the trustees or people would reach out to these resort communities and find out what kinds of solutions they've come up with, which we may be able to mirror in some way for our community, because as we've all said, this has become a quality of life issue. The second thing that I just want to mention briefly, I am concerned about the amount of pollution that these idling cars are causing in our beautiful, pristine communities. Okay, so the pollution is just going to get worse and worse and worse with the number of cars on the road. And as Jerry said, if you stand outside during rush hour and start counting cars, you will find that the vast majority, he said 17 out of 20, which is true, cars are driver-only cars. So it is untenable for us to continue to allow people, one person in a car, driving in and out of our community during rush hour on certain streets. So I really hope that you take those 2 things into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I just make a comment if I could? Because I appreciate the analogy that's been given twice now with respect to Aspen and other places, and we can learn about them. I'm happy to reach out to them. We also actually have a worse and different problem that they don't have to deal with, which is we're at the bottleneck of a much larger commute heading east of us. And so actually a relatively small amount of the commuter traffic that comes through the village is people coming who work in the village or permanently. It's people coming either off of County Road, or they're coming to the hospital to visit, for either for doctor's visit or to visit family members, and then commuting through the village. We're the unfortunate recipients of traffic generated for 40 miles east of us during the afternoon commute. So it makes the problem harder. That's all. But I'm happy to reach out, and I think we can learn something from it.
But there are always solutions.
Agreed.
Yes. Allison?
Allison Fagan, 81 Halsey Neck Lane. Mr. Mayor and trustees, thank you for this opportunity to speak. We need community solutions, not solutions that merely shift traffic problems from one area to another area in the community. There is something not right about those types of policy choices. 3 reminders. First, last year's pilot prohibiting no left-hand turns onto Hill Street and no left-hand turns onto Hill Street from Captains and Lee created significant traffic burdens to their eastern neighbors. Halsey Neck Lane especially suffered, inheriting all the traffic from Lee and Captain's Neck. Second, it was mentioned at the July 22nd board meeting that Lee and Captain's Neck had a traffic emergency. And third, at the August 14th board meeting, a traffic consultant recommended a street light on Lee Avenue and Hill, which was vehemently contested by Lee and Captain's Neck residents. Okay, a mere 2 weeks later, the emergency traffic situation was not corrected nor alleviated, but just moved east to Halsey Neck Lane and Hill Street. Halsey Neck Lane is considered an emergency access route to the beach area. So why are we making policy decisions that clog our emergency access routes? During this week's pilot, I drove around from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. While Lee and Captain's Neck were placid, its neighboring roads to its east have become a traffic quagmire. We have massive backups, not to mention the honking and illegal U-turns. Last, the timing of this pilot is all wrong. Again, at the July 26 board meeting, it was said that the emergency traffic problem would be over in a month. The week prior to this pilot, I drove for 20 minutes each night around Halsey Neck, Lee, and Captain's Neck, and at no time were there more than 0 to 3 cars waiting at their Hill Street intersections, and the wait for those cars to turn was short. Although the results of this pilot have thus far been a disaster for Halsey Neck and our neighbors, the actual negative consequences that instituting no left turn prohibitions alone or with a stoplight is not being shown by this pilot. Please institute a community solution. Let us see the pilot done on County Road 39 last spring implemented. That's a community solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Ma'am.
Julie McConnell, and I live at Bishop Lane and Center Street. And I'm sure this is a really difficult problem. Difficult to solve. I wonder sometimes if County 39, which is so terrifying to be on, and all that traffic is being pushed into our neighborhood, and they are behaving the same way they do on 39, which is speeding. Nobody abides by 35 miles an hour. And so that's a starting point, it seems to me, and then when they come down, they just completely ignore it. What I see are people walking in my neighborhood, pushing strollers, walking dogs. I like to walk, jogging, running. I almost got run over on Hill Street because nobody stopped for me in the big crosswalk that is on Hill Street. I think there's one at Halsey and there's also one at, sped, saw me, daylight, blew right through. And I just think of 39 and how the kind of driving that's going on there is now coming down. So I hope there's a solution here because it's getting dangerous. And I appreciate your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bonnie Cannon, 54 Miller Road, Southampton.
And I wanted to speak on a few. First of all, thank you so much for the speed lights that you have on Miller Road and on Hillcrest. But we need more. We need, I think, the speed bumps.
Okay.
There are motorcycles that are going up and down Miller Road and Hillcrest, and I've heard from a few people in the neighborhood that they hear it all the time, and plus people are not, slowing down for those traffic speed lights. So I know that on Halsey, I think that you guys have speed bumps on Halsey
Street.
on Halsey Street. Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, so if we could look at that for Hillcrest, that would be wonderful. The other thing,
I think I've spoken to your mother, Gloria, about some of these issues, right?
yes, she calls you. She'll call you.
She-
I don't
she
speak
does-
for her.
she likes
She
to give
speaks
me a
for
call
herself.
every once in a while. I
That's
appreciate
right. That's right. And then on the workforce development, I understand there's a lot of conversation regarding traffic, and one of the ways to ease traffic is if we have a lot of the people that work here, even our essential workers. We have teachers that come in, doctors, nurses, all of our essential workers that come in, businesses and things of that sort. If they had a place to live here, then they wouldn't have to leave here.
Yep.
So when you talk about the workforce development, I understand that you have an opportunity to actually do something in the office district, but you're only looking at 20%.
25, yeah.
Yeah, well, 25%. I don't understand that. You should at least be looking at least 50, make it 50-50, if not 100. Everybody complains about that. No one can afford to live here. Your essential workers, even some of your doctors. I've spoken to one that was saying, well, I can't find any housing here, so I have to go live somewhere else, and even that's even with the help that the hospital is giving them. So the big issue is, if you look at the bigger issue, which is the housing issue that's here, then that would possibly, calm down some of your traffic, but you have an opportunity to make a dent here. It's needed. So 25% is not enough. You need to look at a larger percentage. I don't know if it's totally 100%, even though I must say that I would like to see 100%, but it definitely should be at least 50%, I would say, and that's fair, 50-50, if not even 70-30, or something like that. That's what I would say to that. And when we talk about resorts, and we talk about ski resorts and things of that sort, and what the solution is, some of the solutions that I've had that I've seen is that they have actually cars that are parked in parking lots, where people are living in parking lots and
You're at
things of that
2:45.
sort. And
15 seconds left.
thank you very much. And they're living in parking lots. I don't think that we want that here. So let's get some housing so the folks can stay here. We can calm down traffic, and we can be the community that I know that we should be, being born and raised in a local here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bonnie. It's always nice to hear from a former trustee. Appreciate that. Sir.
Thank you. My name's Cameron Smalls. I'm actually here to talk about Culver Street, not Halsey or Lee.
You've emailed me a few times.
A few, sorry.
I appreciate it. No, it's good. That comes with the job.
Okay, well, thank you all for your service to the village. I own 62 Culver. I live there with my wife, Brittany, and my daughter, Charlotte, who turned 1 last month. We bought the house a few years ago because we fell in love with the quiet neighborhood. Unfortunately, after the legalization of rideshare services across the Hamptons, we've seen an influx of drivers to our street. Culver's proximity to downtown and lack of parking have made it particularly attractive for Uber and Lyft drivers. And every year for the last few years, the street has seen a higher number of drivers, culminating in this summer where the entire street was full. I've sent videos and pictures, and I invite the trustees to visit Culver Street, especially on weekends in the summer, to see firsthand how bad the problems become. So why is this a problem? It's dangerous, first and foremost. So at the corners of First Neck and Pond, when they're parked on both sides, now both sides on First Neck, one side on Pond, thanks for the change there, it creates one-way traffic conditions. Culver is a throughway for a lot of pedestrians, strollers like myself and my daughter, bikes, people walking their dogs, and this is a very dangerous situation for both cars and pedestrians. Number two, it's totally overcrowded. So on days when there's a farmer's market or event at Agawam Park, Culver Street is already very full. This has tipped it over the edge. And finally, it dilutes our quality of life. So There are about 10, 11 households on Culver. Actually, I have a neighbor sitting behind me right here. And for the last few years, we've had to deal with drivers sitting, sleeping, eating, smoking, congregating outside our homes for hours at a time. They set up folding chairs and tables on the street to have lunch sometimes. We smell cigarette smoke day in and day out. I did it just today. We've picked up hundreds of cigarette butts from our lawns, as well as other trash, bottles, fast food wrappers, and the like. So the proposal from the residents of our street is to create no stopping, no standing zones in certain areas in front of residences, especially in the southwest quadrant of the street where the problem is most acute. We support everyone's right to earn an honest living. Uber drivers and Lyft drivers, we really appreciate the service. Maybe they're potentially a solution, partly to the traffic in our town, but we don't think that Culver Street is an appropriate place as a staging area for rideshare services. Thank you very much.
So Cameron, we have sent the police there. I've sent the police there on more than one occasion, and they have dispersed. But are you saying they just come back the minute the police are not there again?
Immediately.
Immediately.
I called yesterday. The same thing happened, and
because I have spoken to the chief about this situation,
Yeah.
More than once also, and so we have to look into that again. Eileen, I'm not sure we can just do the no stopping and no standing if they're.
They just park. They're allowed to park.
Mayor, I know we created a rideshare place over at the train station. Could we do that on Pond Lane, where there's a little wider street and less traffic on the east side of Pond Lane by the park? Do the same
I'd
thing?
have to look into that. Yeah, I can't, but I understand.
I think you
what-
either have to go no parking at all on that street, or no stopping, standing parking, or you're just gonna, they'll just turn off the car and they're parking.
Right, I think you understand the intention, which is essentially to
I hear
limit
what you're saying.
Right, so I'm not sure the parlance in terms of no stopping, standing, or parking, but essentially, we'd prefer that strangers don't hang out in front of our homes for hours at a time.
Yeah, understood. Thank you. Thank you very much, Cameron.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming. You have to come up. Yeah.
I only have one comment to add to yours, which is that I live at the Irving House.
Across the hill, across
Right
First Neck.
across from you all.
Yeah.
And I can hear the Uber guys talking if I have my windows open. And I smell them cooking, and they do a lot on the hoods. And it's not safe. We have a couple of people who walk their dogs and stuff, and one's a young girl who lives with, and it's very uncomfortable and very unsafe. And I have to say that now that I can hear them out of my window, because I'm opening the windows now, because it's just like, oh my God, this is just terrible.
Yeah.
So I would ask that we could do something about that, and it's the same problem. you have.
Okay. C-Mac, did you want to talk on this too?
We need your name for the record.
And Jeffrey.
And Jeffries. I know her too, but yeah, okay.
I know.
CMAC
C-Mac.
Sammy. I also have my office on Culver Street. And to reiterate what Cameron said, basically the Uber drivers, even though they're independent contractors, it seems like they all know one another. They all congregate there and they're friends and they chat and talk and cook and eat and smoke mostly in that one specific corner. I would suggest that at a minimum, there are restrictions to parking in the proximity of an intersection. If there would be a restriction of 50 feet, 60 feet from the corner, because also my concern is that when I come down First Neck Lane and take a right on Culver Street, that right, suddenly I'm basically running into the back of some of these big Uber cars parked over there. They're not obliging to what actually the laws of traffic are of not parking immediately on the corner. If that corner is cleared, that helps a lot towards solving basically safety.
Yeah.
All it takes is one ticket. If there's a sign there and one ticket, these guys are all friends with one another, they would get the message.
Okay, we'll look. I will look at that CMAC tomorrow. Yeah. Well, who else would like to speak, sir?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for allowing us as a community to come here and speak. I'm here to object against the light at Halsey. My wife and I, longtime residents in Southampton. She works over at Southampton Drugs as a pharmacist. It's a disaster, as you're hearing. We live on Hill Street. We're the third house away. We're 414 Hill Street, so we're on the westbound side of the street. Before the light, we had to deal with getting out of our driveway in the morning if we wanted to go in one direction, or at the end of the day. Cars speed up. If we're pulling out, cars will cross the double yellow.
Yeah.
But we're dealing with this morning and afternoon. I know the side streets are getting it because now it's all westbound traffic. But we're getting it morning and night. And it's a problem for everybody, you know, and I don't know what the solution is. Is it to, you know, do, as this fellow said, Jeffrey Rosenthal, like a ride and share thing, which I thought was a great idea, or bring back that pilot program up on County Road 39, which I didn't know about. I just found out about it.
Yeah.
And they said that was a success. That helped?
Yes, it did help.
So I'd like to know, I'm not sure everybody would, what we can do, or what I can do. I'm an attorney. If I can help anyway, I'll volunteer to help negotiate that or get that implemented, because bring it back, you know, that pilot program.
Maybe it'd be helpful if people wrote letters to the county or the town saying that they want that brought back. What do you think,
I think it would be very helpful, especially to, the town is behind it, so it's really the county that has to be convinced.
Because it's County Road 39, they have jurisdiction over that road.
Right.
If you could let us know.
Yeah,
Right?
well,
And
actually,
what's the name? I don't even know
let-
the name of the program. I just found out
We're
about
going to
it.
go on the 16th. I have.
But Len, maybe we can have, you can take some letters with you on the
Yeah,
16th.
well, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
No, but seriously, why don't we put on the website maybe where people can write letters to whom they would write that letter, and then we can get those to the county.
Yeah, the solution is to stop the traffic coming back into, you know, everyone's cutting through the village. It's still going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, Bartha is the
But, I
commissioner.
mean, we have it all day now.
No, I understand.
I mean, every time that light changes, we have cars in front of our house. It's not
Yeah.
just the cars. It's, as I've heard, you know, I have a daughter. You know, it's men in trucks looking up the driveway, gawking, you know, up the driveway. It's litter. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's the radios we hear all day now. I mean, it's a lot worse. I feel like, you know, I grew up in the city. I feel like I'm living in the city again.
Yeah.
You know, this is not South, to me, it's not Southampton. Like, my wife was like, maybe we should move, if this is what it's gonna be.
No, we don't
But
want you to
we don't
move.
wanna move.
We don't want you to move
We don't
either.
wanna move.
We don't want you to move.
But that's basically it. Yeah, if you could let us know. She actually mentioned something, the speeding on Hill Street. Do you have the right to put speed cameras?
No, we don't, unless
Nassau County has speed cameras everywhere.
and the state has authorized different municipalities in Nassau County to have those cameras. Unless we get Albany to authorize our use here in the village of Southampton to use speed cameras, we are prohibited from using them.
Because I know there's cameras, but
Yeah.
there's no speed cameras.
Cor-
So how
That's
does
correct.
that happen?
Well, I've actually gone up to Albany and I met with Tommy John Scavone, our assemblyman. I met with our senator, State Senator Palumbo. They have legislation that they are putting through the legislature in Albany. Then it has to get to the governor's desk, and the governor has to sign it before we'd be able to do that. So I have done that. You know, I would encourage you. You're a lawyer, you said, so I would encourage you also to write a letter to our assemblyman and state senator Tommy John.
It's not just that, Bill. Suffolk County had a trial program for speed cameras, which expired in December of 2024 and was not renewed. At a recent meeting with our town councilman, Iaselli, he said even our town council is not in favor as a majority of speed cameras. I don't know why, but
I kind of think with a lot of the residents and what I'm hearing on the side streets, people would
No,
want.
but we can implement it in the village without the town's approval, as long as we get Albany to approve.
well, I think Albany will be a lot more interested in helping us do it if the town is actually
Well,
in
that's
favor.
true.
If
That's
the
true.
town is saying, no, we don't think they need it, the state's going to say, what's this little village talking about? So we need to get a lot of people on top of this, telling people we need speed cameras.
Can you post that as well on the site so
Sure,
residents can
yeah.
write to whoever
Yeah.
we need to write to? I mean, I'm for a camera. You know, you put cameras there, it'll stop a lot of the side street speeding. Because a lot of the calls that come in onto the police, it's for cars speeding.
The county. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. I
That'd be
appreciate
great.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You already spoke. Let me just see. I got to see if there are other people that want to speak that haven't spoken. Elizabeth, you already spoke a little bit too. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak? On a different topic. Okay. All right. Actually, I see a former trustee, Joe McLaughlin, wants to speak, so I'm going to let Mr. McLaughlin come up. He lives across the street, I think, from you, Elizabeth.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. My name is Joseph McLaughlin. I live on 436 Hill Street. And it's quite obvious that the traffic has been a concern of mine for a long time.
Yes, you were also another former trustee, and I appreciate you coming here tonight, Joe. Thank you.
My heart is here. Now, 25 years ago, the village, being concerned about the safety of its citizens and the bikers, reduced the speed limit on Hill Street and Hampton Road to 25 miles an hour. And they also put up new aggressive signing. An example would be your speed is, etc. And they had them on Hill Street and other parts of the village. Pressure from New York State and the county convinced the village to do away with that 25-mile-an-hour speed limit and change it to 30. Why? Quite obvious. The town wanted more cars to come shooting through the village. That resulted in partially leading to the problem that we have in today. We also established the bike route through Hill Street and through the village, with the intention of making that factor safer for the people living here. And now with that, with the change, the village has allowed the trailers to be put on Hill Street and other parts of the village. I was coming down the other day and an ambulance was coming from Hampton Bays, and all of a sudden the ambulance is almost stopped because of the tractor trailer being partially on the bike lane. I've also noticed bikers and people walking in areas where these trailers are forcing the people to go into a lane where these cars are speeding. And I have two short stories. One is I overheard a conversation between someone visiting the village and someone, one of the residents. And the resident asked the visitor, "How'd you make out today?" He said, "I tell you, the traffic was fantastic. Everyone is shooting through the Sunrise Highway at 60 miles an hour and jumping through the village at 50. It is fantastic." He was happy. Meanwhile, what is the problem that people are talking to? In the middle of the night, what do you hear? The traffic. You smell the cars. And it's gotten worse now that everything is even further jammed up in that particular area on Hill and Halsey Neck Lane. The other story was I was mowing my lawn one morning, and the chief of police, Sherry, came by with the Mayor Romanowski in the car, and they stopped, and I guess they just wanted to have a little chat. And then all of a sudden the chief is listening to this. Boom, boom, boom. So he said, he grabs the phone and calls the village police and said, "Get someone over here." Now, this is what we have to put up every day. But is there anyone here who can hop on the phone and call the chief of police and say, "Get over here"? No. No, I don't think so. Okay. Yeah, and I remember when Jim Sherry was on patrol, and he was a motorcycle cop, and he would stand on, and this is he would stay on Halsey Neck Lane mostly, and he said to me at this time, the same meeting I was talking about with the mayor and the chief.
I'm sorry,
He
sir,
said
just
he
so you
could
know, yeah,
sit-
we're at 5:45, see another 15
okay,
seconds.
I only have another second. And Chief Sherry said, in my day as a motorcycle cop, I could sit on Halsey Neck Lane, and as fast as I could write a ticket, there would be somebody else waiting. And what is his technique? It's quite obvious he had his own way of doing things.
We have to sum it up, I'm sorry.
All
I
right.
just, in the interest of clarity
let's
to
sum it
everybody
up.
else, he got 6 minutes because his daughter Leith McLaughlin ceded her
Okay,
3
I
minutes to him.
understand.
Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Is there anyone else that did not speak? Peter, you spoke already. Actually, Elizabeth didn't get to speak on this topic yet, so I'm going to let Elizabeth go first. Ladies first, Peter. You can go next.
I'm Elizabeth Singer, and I live at 451 Halsey Neck Lane. My parents are at 449. I've spent my entire life there. I also do want to thank the trustees and the mayor because you're honest and you are working hard for us, and you take my calls and texts and showing up in your office quite well. So I really appreciate it. I understand why the pilot program exists. I'm very sympathetic to the residents of Lee and Captain's Neck. I've seen that horror show. And I came on August 14th, actually, to support you. And I will say you just said, put it on to Halsey and Hill. That was a shock. But I do want to, sorry, I had to say it. I heard it. But anyway, okay.
Let her speak.
Okay, wait, come on.
Let her speak, please.
One person speaks
So-
at a time.
That was divisive. It was. I'm sorry. But I think the whole thing is we have to work all together, which I've said many, many, many times. We all have to work together because this is a community problem. And I agree. There should be no left turns on your roads during those hours. It's horrible. No one should have to deal with that kind of traffic. I have to say, I think that if Corrigan, Bishops, and Somerset don't have the right turns, then none of the other streets should have left turns. You have to treat everyone equally because otherwise we're just going to fight with each other, and that's not what we're here to do. The light on, so I think what I think is we should come together as a community. Maybe we have to start some West Village Preservation Society to put speed bumps on all these roads because people are not going 25 miles an hour. They're coming off bumper-to-bumper traffic on 39 or wherever, and they're going 50 miles an hour down Halsey Neck Lane. I would never put my children on those roads. I mean, it's really sad they won't have the same childhood that I did because it's deadly. And the landscape trucks, it's so bad. And we all live in the same village. Our children go to school together. This is, we have to be together. And I just want to say the light has to come down. It has to come down. It's trashing Hill Street. It's trashing our neighborhoods. And also, I don't know why part of our 100-year-old tree had to come down for the pilot program. I don't think that was necessary. We can get the light away, but the tree is now shorn. So I don't know what to say about that. I think it was a little harsh.
We're at 2:45.
Okay, and then also just someone said to me, "Oh, now you live in the red light district." And I don't like the connotations of that. I don't think there are going to be brothels opening up on Hill Street anytime soon. but it means like
We're at-
trashy,
we're
no
at
one wants to
3,
be there
I'm
during the
sorry.
day. So
We're
take
at
it down.
All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. All right. We'll go to Ms. Plum, and then we'll come back to sorry. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Amy Plum. I live on 131 Bailey Road at the very end of this garbage program. It really is terrible. But this morning and then this afternoon specifically, I'm driving down Hill Street, driving into town, and then trying to get home. And both times there were ambulances coming from Hampton Bays or coming, heading east. And the orange cones that are dividing that part of Hill Street, it was so dangerous. First of all, it's ruining like the sight line. You can't really see. And then cars couldn't really move over to make room for the ambulances. It was so dangerous. And then not only that, it's also pushing them over. And then if people are on bikes in the bike lane on Hill Street, it's just, you have to get rid of those cones. I'm sorry. Barrels, not cones, barrels. It's dangerous. It's going to cause a major problem, a major accident. And we have to get rid of that and have to get rid of that traffic light tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Please.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jeff Molesky at 121 Lee Avenue. I had notes, but actually listening to everybody, I actually am completely rethinking what I want to say. First of all, I think we need to applaud Mayor Menger and these trustees and the chief of police for them just taking the effort of what they're doing to try to solve a community problem. This is not an easy fix. We feel the pain of all of you guys on Halsey Neck, and I hate even saying on Halsey Neck versus Captains versus Lee. We're a community. We're an amazing community. We have a beautiful village. So let's work through that and let's look for solutions. There's always solutions, as this beautiful woman said, and I think we have to come from that spirit and that intention, because it feels very divisive right now in terms of some of the stuff that people are slinging. We
like microphones.
Drop the mic. Just so you guys know, we've been meeting with we've been coming to these meetings all summer long. We've been having sub-meetings. This has not been an easy pilot that people have tried to work. We've been working with the consultancy that the village has retained. So I know it all feels like this just came down and where this come from and this is bullshit. It's really, that's not how it happened. People are trying to fix a problem that we have in the village, and we absolutely can respect Len's solution in terms of really getting closer to CR 39. Keep in mind that CR 39's pilot was a disaster the first few days. I don't know if you guys know that. It was not easy. It wasn't until they worked it through that it became a solution. So if you, it sure did, but the first 3 days, it did not.
Well, the first day and a half, really.
Day and a half? Okay, day and a half, 2 days, 3 days. It was not easy. The point here is, you guys, we're piloting ideas. We're trying to come up with solutions and a solve and learn from it. So we can't think, hey, you're pushing this on me, that's bad. We have to view it like, listen, there's a pilot. Maybe the light that actually, I think it was Trustee Stevenson recommended and the consultancy supported, maybe that was a bad idea. We don't know. But the point is people are just trying to be creative. And I want to applaud all of you, gentlemen, in terms of what you're trying to do. And I want us as a community to come together and say, let's fix this. And let's not view it as you versus us or us versus him. It's one of those things where we have to just understand we can do better. And you guys, I got to tell you, if you've not been on Lee Avenue all summer long, what you've encountered for this week, it's a parking lot all summer long. It's a parking lot, and the safety, so you know. So again, just keep that in mind. We've lived that every day, all summer. So let's all be a bit empathic with each other and understand how we might be able to do this together. Because I really, Mayor Menger, you're our leader. We trust you. We should not kill this pilot. Maybe we need to revise it, right? Maybe we need to rethink some things, but we're learning. Okay, thank you, Scott. We're learning. And that's what pilots are for. Pilots are to learn and iterate and make it better.
Obviously what we're learning. Thank you, Jeff.
Maybe. Maybe.
Thank you, Jeff. Anyone? Okay, Peter, you can come back also. Peter, we'll go right after this guy.
We're not going to have everybody speak again.
No, all right, but I just want to...
I don't think everybody should then get up and speak again.
This is not a matter of speaking again. I have a question. Who controls construction? Is the village of town? Can't hear you. Who controls construction code?
It's
the building.
In the village, it's the building department. Yeah.
We do.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you add a drive-in plan, sharing plan in the construction code?
I'm actually working with the building inspector on something like that. So it's early days. We've just begun the dialogue to come back with some options or recommendations about how to control on-site parking for construction sites.
But he's
I'm
not talking about traffic.
on-site. I'm not talking about on-site. I'm talking about code that would basically make a developer, I'm a builder, right?
Yeah.
I would be required to have my men car share.
When I said on-site, I meant related to a construction site. Could be on street, but it's going to include things like ride-sharing requirements.
How
At least
quickly
as a
could that be
concept.
done?
But
And we'd have to look into it, because again,
my understanding is it's not legal for the village to restrict how many people are in a car. It's just not up to the village to do that.
The people who are
Further,
on these
it's
the
not up
people
to
who are
the
on these
village.
construction sites,
Sir, may
the
I speak?
people
You've
who
had
are
your opportunity.
building-
May I speak?
Wait.
You can.
It's not up to the village to tell residents that you get a sticker and you get to go and other people don't get to go. That is illegal. It's illegal.
Okay, I only said the construction contractors. If you will, it may be illegal, that has to be determined, right?
It is illegal. It's not maybe be determined. It is illegal.
The contractors are
Counsel,
making their
can you
money
verify that,
from
please?
the building and having 50 guys come to one house to build. That's 50, that's 20 cars.
I agree with you 100%, but we do not have the power to regulate that.
I guess that's why I was asking.
I totally agree with you.
So what I'm working with the building inspector on, and as it said, it's early days, is ways to provide guidance, recommendations, requests for better practices, and to let them know that it's generating ill will. It makes their lives more difficult as well, and it would be voluntary, but to provide some guidance and examples of how they can reduce the number of vehicles coming to the site every day.
So basically saying there's not a problem we can solve. No. Basically.
All right. Peter, you're going to, wait, you didn't get to speak yet. Sorry, Peter. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sharon Denner. I live on Lee Avenue. And when I walked into this room, I saw all these new faces, all the Halsey Neck people that are experiencing what Jeff just said, that we have been experiencing for years. And we've been coming here all summer long. Every single thing that you guys said, every single thing, from the kid that was just here speaking, we can't get out of our driveways. I don't need to get into that, but literally every single point you guys made, we've been living with. My question is, we have this pilot, we don't know what the results are going to be. What can we do going forward so that we're not here in July saying, oh, we've got traffic, oh, we've got this. Is there any kind of committee that could be formed? Is there anything that we can do, number one, so that we all know what the results of the pilots are? We all know what your result is when you go to where you're going for the traffic. What can we do so that we leave here and we don't come back with, now what? And
Last spring, we formed a traffic committee, a village traffic committee, and anybody who wanted to be on it is on it. So if you give me your name and your email address, I will add you as well.
I'm in.
And that's the way we are communicating what's going on. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It wasn't positioned that way. The mayor picked his committee members.
Oh, that's not accurate.
I never heard that.
We had many people who sent emails asking to be on the committee, and they were welcomed on the committee.
Everyone was
Yeah.
added on it.
Yeah. Peter, okay, you have really two seconds here, and then we got to wrap up. Yeah.
We are all in this together. It's just it's horrible for all of us. So we're all, and you guys on Lee do have an acute problem because it's so narrow, and guys start looking around and then it's totally blocked both ways. It's horrible. But I just wanted to plant an idea, and I never thought I would say this because I'm not a fan of Big Brother, but there are only 3 ways in: the 2 bridges and the railroad tracks going over the canal.
Yeah.
How would it ever be possible to get Easy Pass readers and charge people a toll? And the farther they are from this area, the more they get charged. And we, if we charge anything, a minimal amount, because the only way to control this is to deter the volume. And I bet, how much is the volume of traffic increasing it's just going to get worse. There's no way to slow it. It's probably increasing 20% a year. So as much as we're trying to reroute traffic, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, and
Yeah.
some people are going to suffer more than others. But is this? I want to plant this idea.
Well, yeah, those are state roads, so we'd have to work with the state. You know, it's similar to the congestion pricing that they've implemented in Manhattan.
Right.
It
And
wouldn't
boy,
matter
was I
who owns
against.
the roads.
I'm
Yeah, but-
totally against that kind of
Yeah.
concept, but
Yeah.
the only way is to deter single drivers, guys that are coming, and we're all in this together. We're all doing the same thing, because now I have a pool, and I have all this stuff, and guys are showing up, and you know, the air conditioning guy, this guy, so we're all in the same boat. We're all creating this mess together and building new houses, so it's just gonna consistently get worse. And then you have the power to, from what I heard, putting in no through traffic signs and so forth. You're doing that in places. Can you also put signs up that say residential area, no commercial traffic, or no traffic after certain hours, even though it's not enforceable, just as a deterrent?
Well, you can't really do that because, again, if someone were making a delivery to your house, you know,
Right.
they would have to be allowed to go make the delivery to your house.
Right.
The only way you could you know, protect against that is you'd literally have to have police there checking. Okay, where are you going? What's your order here? What your delivery place? And I mean, it just gets
Because
too
even County
unmanageable.
Road 39 is not going to be able to absorb all of this.
Roy?
We've been actively trying to work with the Waze and Google Maps and all those people and their algorithms. We've been in contact with those people.
That's very smart.
And trying to get them to stop routing through residential area. And through a lot of investigation, they basically say, look, the only thing we respond to is actual legal things. If there's they're basically tracking the speed of the traffic.
Right.
So if you have a stop sign, or if you have a light, or if you have a restriction and that makes the traffic slow down, that will reduce the algorithm going through. But putting up a sign that says no through traffic doesn't do anything. I mean, if it happens to make some people not go down that road, it does do something, but it doesn't actually materially affect the algorithms
Unfortunately, there's no legal enforcement.
Right.
The police
Right.
cannot pull
Understand,
that person over and give them a ticket.
What's any feedback on the toll idea? Is that an insurmountable, crazy idea?
I'm going to give that to Rob Coburn.
Yeah, I'll address it. Beside the fact that we would have to go to the state for it, most of the volume, I had a Viewpoint article in the paper last week. Most of the volume here is not just people deciding they want to come here to do fun things. It's commuters, because we're losing our workforce housing.
Right.
That's the majority
It's
of the
just
volume.
compounded.
So, and right now, there's some employers in our village and east of us who are having to pay people for half or all of their commuter time. That's a new feature in the last 2 or 3 years. You've got employers now paying people $100, $200 a day, not for productive work in the restaurants or in their stores, but just to get here and back. It's not tenable for them. So this would just be a tax on them, and they're going to come anyway. It could get more than the carpool to share that toll cost. That's a
That would be the
possibility.
intent, right.
I think you can read the Viewpoint article and talk to other people. I think mass transit, making better use of our rail lines, and the MTA is investing in the sidings here that will allow more potential commuter rail traffic, and then we need to talk about shuttle buses to get people from train stations to work centers and that sort of thing, or a transportation center, as was referred to earlier, either at the airport or across from Lobster Inn, something like that. Those are medium to longer term solutions, but they're something that needs to be on the table. Even if the County Road 39 program gets made permanent, we're going to need to still think about other options like that going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, Bonnie, is this on a traffic issue now?
Just want to bring up again to you that, as you said, with your Viewpoint, the reason that people are coming in because they're commuting in their workers. So I'll just go back to, you need to have the workers to have a place to live here. So again, you need to look at more than 25%. If we have places for people to live that they can afford to live, then that will cut down on your traffic and that will cut down on your commuters.
Thank you, Bonnie. All right, any other final comments from? Oh, sorry, David, go ahead.
David Run, Pleasant Lane. I'm going to cut down my 2 minutes of comments down to 30 seconds. And this has to do with the assessed value system and the administration of that system in this village, where it produces unfair and absurd and immoral results, such that I would bet that 80% of you here would if you were taxed fairly, your taxes would go down. And you say, how could that be? It's because the high-valued properties are paying so much less tax than they should be because of this system and how the system is administered. And the grievance process is, people are just treated shabbily, okay? If you file a grievance, you come in, you make your points, and the committee goes off in secret, deliberates, makes their decisions, and a week later you get a letter denying that, and that, to me, just shows complete disrespect. Okay, let's just cut, though, to the bottom line. I am offering, if you contact me, I will compute for you how much taxes you are paying that you should not be paying if you were treated the same way as the high-value properties, okay? So just and that'll let you know how much of a problem this is and how widespread it is, and unfortunately, no one's doing anything about it, okay? Contact me, I will compute for you the cost you are paying that you shouldn't be paying.
I'm sorry, Mr.
That's
Ryan,
it.
I just want
The
you
other
to
thing
address
is,
them, not them.
I have a letter to the editor in this week's
Can you please address
this
to the
edition.
board? Not to the audience, but to the board. Can you please address your comments to the board?
Well, the board, I know, just loves my letters to the editor, but there's a good one in this week. Read that. It's on this subject. It'll help.
What's your email?
What's your name?
David Rung, R-U-N-G.
And I would just point out that the village board, under my direction, has now appointed an assessment board review, and no longer will the village board be doing the assessments. I mean, the review of grievances. So, thank you. Any other final comments?
Just really quick,
Ma'am.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
Linda Cardali, Hill Street, how are you? Thank you again for your time. Just on the point that Mr. McLaughlin had made about the miles per hour, if that's something that maybe if we could go back to that 25 miles, I think that could be also another helpful thing, just for the traffic.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You've gone twice now, Elizabeth. You can't go anymore, I'm sorry. Is there someone on Zoom? Oh, Sage, okay, sorry, thank you. Please put them through. Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, sorry, I'm a little bit tech spastic. Can you see me?
Yes?
Yes. Hi, my name is Alyssa Lefkowitz. I live at 535 Ox Pasture. I just want to say that I'm very, very appreciative of all the time and the research that you've obviously put into this problem. I've had traffic wrapped around my house numerous times. Very empathetic to anybody on any street that has to deal with the unsafe conditions and just the hassle. I obviously at a micro level, I'm in favor of keeping the no left turn on Lee Avenue. It does seem as if the traffic light at Halsey is a complete disaster. But at the macro level, I did want to ask, are you in touch with other boards of neighboring towns to gain support for some of these bigger ideas that we're tossing around, whether it's ride share, parking structures, things of that nature, you know, support for County Road 39?
Yeah, I've had many conversations with Jerry Larson, the mayor of East Hampton Village, and actually he's gone with me to meet with the county executive twice. I believe his deputy mayor will be traveling actually next week with Deputy Mayor Zananti to meet for a third time with the county executive and his engineers to discuss 39 as well as other topics involving traffic.
Okay, that's fabulous. I'm glad that you have support. And again, anything that we can do as residents to support you in that endeavor, we can definitely write letters, give our names. I'm happy to join any committees, so just please keep us in the loop and put that information on the website.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sage, are there people? Okay, good. All right, well, I did want to just say that the other day I was at a meeting with the mayors from the East End, and even the little village of North Haven, which actually doesn't have a downtown, said that the traffic readers they had there last summer recorded an average of 11,000 cars a day going through North Haven. Now, most of them are going to the ferry terminal to get over to Shelter Island. That's understandable. He said this year, the number has jumped from 11,000 to 14,000 in 1 year. So it's not only a situation with the village of Southampton, it seems there is just traffic everywhere on eastern Long Island. It's just, I don't know where they've all come from, but they're all here and they're all trying to get around, and it's really quite phenomenal. But I did want to just add that as a piece of information about how many cars are even going through North Haven at this point. So it's not all in the village of Southampton. I did talk to the chief of police today. I did speak with Ryan Winter, our traffic consultant from VHB, and in consultation with them, we will be removing the red light after tomorrow. So it will not it will not remain up for the rest of the pilot period. We are going to keep the no left turns on Lee and Captains so that we can see the difference in the numbers, because we've actually paid a lot of money for them to record the numbers of cars going on various streets, and they're recording the numbers of cars, I would add, on the north side of Hill Street as well, not only the south side. And so I think it would be wise, and the traffic engineer recommends, that we then have the week to observe how the traffic reacts without the light, but with the no left turns still in place. So I just wanted to make that announcement, because again, we've been working very hard with the chief and the traffic engineer to figure out what would be the next step here, understanding that the red light on Hill Street really has not been a help. It's probably done more harm.
And that's thank you, Steve Marco of Lee Avenue. That's a terrific iterative fix. The one thing we did write to you and the chief about, and we notice is still potentially an issue, is no signage for anyone heading northbound on Captain's Neck or on Halsey Neck. So the digital sign faces east. So we've got a lot of traffic coming from Meadow Lane, the surrounding area. They are still heading down Captain's Neck and Lee, forced to take that right, forced onto Halsey Neck, turning around in driveways, turning
all right, let me see what I can do to get another sign. The problem is we only have 2 of those electrical trailers. We don't have more of those, so I'm going to have to see what can be improvised.
Signs, like the no parking signs that are on Halsey, between Hill and Armand.
No, I can try and do that. I understand exactly what you're saying.
That'd be terrific. Thank you.
Okay. You have to come forward. I'm sorry. I know who you are, but you're going to have to tell everyone else.
Barbara McEntee, Lee Avenue. Does the no left turn have to be 24 hours?
It does, because of the time it would take to put up and take down the barrels. That was the reason why it was done. So
they have to come down anyway.
Well, they'll come down after another week. We have another week of the pilot. We're going to evaluate the numbers. In fact, the traffic engineer, Ryan Winter, said he will try and have something available for our work session on the 23rd of this month, where he can, again, give an update on what the numbers show, again, from the various places that they have monitoring. And as I said, it's also not only on the south side of Hill Street, it's also on the north side.
Understood.
And so it actually is being quite comprehensive in taking in the volume of cars that are passing through this village during this pilot period to see what the effects have been. So thank you very much, Barbara. I appreciate it.
I'll just add quickly, one of the positives out of this pilot program has been that with no traffic on either side, we really are getting an accurate picture of the number of cars.
That is correct. That is correct. So that's the reason why they would like to keep it up without the red light. So the red light will be coming down this weekend. All right.
Bill, could I just talk a little bit?
Sorry, of course, sorry. Steve, Roy.
I want to appreciate everybody who spoke this evening. I know many people have left. But this is this evening we had a bunch of people from Halsey Neck and the streets that have been affected by the pilot program. And I apologize that their life has been hell the last week. But as the residents from Lee and Captain's Neck pointed out, their life had been hell previous to that, and they had been to a lot of meetings and were expressing very clearly how terrible and untenable the situation was for them. And as a board, personally, and I think as a board, because we voted unanimously, we determined that doing nothing was not an option. We had to try something to just see, get more data, find out what worked, what didn't work. Let's do a trial. So we have done this trial, and we have learned something. Now, I was an advocate for the light because I felt, well, once you put no left on Captains and Lee, it's all going to go to Halsey Neck. And you can't put a no left on Halsey Neck because that's where all the people coming from the beach go. So if you can't put a no left and you don't want people going down Halsey Neck, maybe if you put a light there, it'll stop people from going down there. Well, it didn't work. I still think when we take the light away, Halsey Neck is going to be jammed with people who are not going down Lee and Captain's Neck, but they'll be able to merge onto Hill as they've done in the past. One go, one go, one go, one go. This is not, there is no solution. Sorry to say that. This gentleman talking about baby steps is absolutely right. The no left, there is no, the solution is what Trustee Zananti is working on, County Road 39. And even that's not a solution. It will help. It will definitely help.
There is a solution.
But,
All right.
well, if we could change the law, if we could change the law, that is great. But right now, there are just a lot of cars, not enough space, and we're dealing with it. And, you know, I just want to say that personally, and I know this board, we are working our butts off, and it's really frustrating to be working on a problem that is so untractable, but we're doing everything we can to try and listen to the people and try and do something and just see anything that might make it a little bit better for everybody. So thank you.
We're grateful.
All right. All right, well, with that, I think we will close public comment unless there are any final comments from anyone on Zoom, Sage? All right, we'll close public comment and we will go to suggested resolutions. And thank you all very much for coming out tonight. Appreciate the time that you've taken to be here. And please say hello to Peter. I will. Okay. All right. Len.
Okay, resolution number 1. Resolve the claims for the warrant dated September 11, 2025, totaling $787,498.23. Warrant number A10, general, $147,021.48. Warrant number H4 capital, and $925 warrant number T8 trust are audited and approved. And I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Number 2, resolve the reading of the minutes for the August 26, 2025 Board of Trustee meeting is dispensed, accepted as filed by the village clerk, and hereby ratified and approved. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Southampton is considering a local law amending Chapter 54 of the Village Code, the Environmental Quality Review section, by amending Type 1 and Type 2 actions under SECRA, and whereas a public hearing was held by the Village Board on September 11th, 2025, at which time all persons either for or against that local law were heard, and whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Southampton has previously determined that this proposed local law is considered an unlisted action under 6 NYCRR Part 617.4, provisions of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and assumed lead agency status as there are no other involved agencies, and whereas the Southampton Village Planning Director prepared a short environmental assessment form, Part 1, dated July 31st, 2025, and a short environmental assessment forms, Part 2 and 3, dated September 11th, 2025, which recommends that there would be no significant adverse impacts on the environment. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby issues a negative declaration pursuant to SECRA, as there are no significant negative environmental impacts anticipated by this code amendment, and be it further resolved that local law number 9 of 2025 is hereby adopted. That's your motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the village clerk to publish a notice of public hearing to be held on Thursday, October 9, 2025 at 6 p.m. regarding the 2026 Community Development Block Grant Program, CDBG. I make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. The next one, actually, I did want to have just a brief introduction to this by representatives from the Southampton Arts Center, namely C-Mac Sammy, as well as somebody from the landscape architectural firm of LaGuardia. So, CMAC, do you want to get up and do a little presentation before we're able to do this?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees, CMAC Sami. I'm here on behalf of Southampton Arts Center as a board member and as a founder, or one of the founders of Southampton Arts Center. I know that as trustees, you have to always solve problems, lots of issues and so forth. Occasionally, basically, there's some good news, and tonight I'm here to present that to you. We, since inception of the Southampton Arts Center, have been focusing on the building and the programming of the events, and to this date we can say that last year, for instance, we've had 45,000 visitors to the center, which has been fantastic as far as a record and abilities of what we have done. A component of the center are the grounds, the Arboretum. When Mr. Parrish built the museum at the time, the Arboretum was part and parcel of that. Actually, one of the main reasons why Parrish Museum moved out of the village was hoping to expand onto the grounds of the Arboretum, and that became a point that the village residents did not agree on and led to them moving to Watermill. To that extent, throughout these 15 years or so that we've been operating Southampton Arts Center, we've been doing incremental projects. I've come in front of your board for providing more accessibility, improving the walking infrastructure, walkable infrastructure of the village. We've added pathways, walkways. We introduced stairways from Job's Lane onto the grounds of the Arboretum. But again, because our focus has been the museum, the center itself, most of our funding that we've raised privately has gone through providing programming and developing programmings. Tonight, I have the good news that through commitment of a private donor, we have been able to comprehensively look at these grounds and address all of these issues rather than piecemeal in a more robust and comprehensive manner. We have undertaken what we call a master plan. This master plan has been rooted in what was developed way back when Parrish wanted to present. Village trustees at that time brought in a landscape architect from Boston Landscapes, actually. A committee of citizens were created, and they reviewed and analyzed the grounds, the Arboretum, what's historic, what has to be preserved, and so forth. And a document was created that basically has been functioning throughout these years as our Bible as to how to treat the grounds, the trees, the pathways, the fountains, and so on. And again, I've done piecemeal work on this thing incrementally. And tonight, I have LaGuardia offices coming over and presenting to you a master plan that is going to be completely improving these in line with those original guidelines. These primarily are focusing on the northern periphery of the grounds, but to some extent improving also elements of the grounds on the southern side. As far as the northern periphery, basically it's like right now we have an open ground onto the parking and public parking of the village. We have activities on the grounds. These activities are not contained within the grounds. For instance, we have children's programs and children run into the parking and so forth, so that's an issue of safety. Also, we have presently a bandstand which is sitting on the basically the rubbles and foundation of what used to be the fountain on the west side of the grounds. This is to be relocated down the line to the westernmost section of the grounds of the Arboretum, which has a natural slope and creating an amphitheater. Of course, that's not initially part of our work. Right now is to clear up, clean up, prune, plant the edge, define the entrances, define that parking lot that is basically a mess of a parking lot. And I won't go through the details. Taxton will, for LaGuardia, will walk you through that. And also, this plan, this commitment is coming with an endowment for maintenance of it. So again, this would, I would basically say that would save the village somewhere. The endowment is for something around 100,000 or plus to maintain these grounds, which is something fantastic. To this date, the village has primarily been maintaining the grounds through some minor pruning, grass cutting, and crisis management whenever it need be. But going forward, this is going to be taken care of again through private funding.
With all due respect, I think each of us has been briefed individually on this, has looked at the plans. The public's not aware of this. We're not going to opine on this. It's going before the ARB.
Right.
Yes.
And the public isn't aware of this presentation. So I'm not sure what we're doing here.
Well, we have it on as a resolution to again, let it go to the ARB. So I just thought, again, in full disclosure and transparency, we should let people know what we're voting on. And I believe actually Trustee Stevenson and I think actually even Trustee Zananti did not have a chance to look at this and be briefed on it. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you're correct very much. And as I said,
I was not brief. I got a copy of the plan today. I mean, I wouldn't call that
Anyway,
being brief.
again, I would like to continue with this, and I would like the public to actually have a view of what is anticipated here before you go to the ARB.
But that's one major difference compared to previously, where I used to come to the trustees. Now we are going to the ARB. This is also because of certain laws that have been updated in our zoning and so forth that requires that in historic districts. So we are going to be going to the ARB for presentation and engagement of the public. I have not had a chance to review these things with all of the trustees, so tonight we're going to be presenting that.
I mean, if they're being asked to vote on something, Rob, they have to be aware of it. So please come forward. Thank you.
Not the substance of the design, I disagree, but I'm really disappointed in this. It's really unfair.
I'm still not clear on what we're doing here.
We're just.
Are we approving this plan?
No.
No.
Are we
Approving it to
approving
go to the
the,
ARB.
are we approving the gift? Are we approving the, I mean, Siamak mentioned the maintenance. Does that mean that the village no longer will be doing any maintenance and the SAC will be doing all of their own maintenance? There's so many questions. I'm not quite sure what I'm voting on.
Well, we just wanted you to be aware of the plan before it goes to the ARB.
Just voting to authorize them to go to the ARB to
Right.
present these plans for approval.
Right.
I mean, I think it's absolutely fantastic, don't get me wrong. But I only saw this today, and I heard about, you know, Bill mentioned that we were getting this fantastic gift, and I said, can I see the plan? And I'm thrilled.
There are many
But it is a
elements to
public resource, and we want to make sure the public has input into what happens to their resource. I mean, to me, just looking at it, and I mentioned it to Bill, it's going to be surrounded by a hedge. And I thought, well, this is a public place, and right now, when you walk by it, you sort of see the sculptures, and you can look and see everything. I understand you want to create a garden, which probably means why you want to have the hedge, but I still think you need to make sure that there's ample sense of public access, that this isn't some sort of special place that you have to, you know, do something special to get into to go look at, if you get what I'm saying.
Actually, that has been our goal from day one, to make the grounds more accessible.
Mhm.
That was one of the primary reasons why we went through a tremendous effort to introduce the steps from Job's Lane onto the grounds. Beforehand, it was much more of a private ground in that sense. And to that extent, we've been engaging the grounds with putting sculptures and art onto the grounds, which previously that was not the case. We did introduce the fountain and restored the fountain on the east side with picnic tables and seating around it, which is again engaging that portion of it. So our task here is actually to make this park more of a usable park, not just something that you pass by from the parking to get to Job's Lane. Now, the elements of how that's done, how it's maintained and so forth, all these details will come out in much more detail for you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, board members, mayor. Thaxton Crandall, LaGuardia Design Group, 38 Scuttle Hole. Here to present both the existing and proposed site plans that will be presented to ARB. It's been an honor to work on an important public asset in the village, which is SAC, both from a programmatic standpoint, but also as a landscape that is accessible to all. So just to walk through high level of the existing conditions plan here in front of me. The landscape currently is defined by mowed lawns and large existing mature trees, which we know have historic significance. Some brick pathways connect the site, but are more practical in their connections. They don't allow accessible access to the grounds as a whole. It's not very inviting. And one of the access points, being on the west side of the building, requires moving through an asphalt parking lot, and is kind of not the most inviting facade of the building for visitors to be presented with. So that was a huge goal in aiming the presentation of the building to be more publicly admired and accessible. As CMIC mentioned, the existing stage, which is placed on top of the kind of remnants of the old fountain, the tent, both of those are crucially important to the function of SAC and will be incorporated in the proposed plan you see. In addition to the report CMIC referenced, the historic trees, the proposed plan maintains all of the existing trees minus one, which I'll point out, and two, which will be relocated. So the asset of those large canopy trees is maintained in both in the proposed plan. Looking at the proposed plan, it aims to remediate maintenance and repairs to the landscape through rehabilitation of the gardens, improve site access, and enhance safety through new walkways, plantings, and driveway modifications. The improvements, which are rooted in the existing landscape character and the historic nature of the property, as CMIC touched on, is our goal. And it's certainly in keeping with kind of the existing and the village aesthetic. The circular brick walkway off of Job's Lane, the entry points are all maintained. And that circular brick walk frames a large lawn space for SAC events that they host on that lawn currently. And it organizes the space and connects largely to the surrounding landscape. A new fountain is reimagined on access with the west facade of the building,
Where there had been a fountain.
Where there had previously been a fountain, exactly. The form of it is altered slightly just to improve circulation. It currently serves as kind of a divider. It blocks flow north to south. So the new layout aims to improve flow north to south, allowing people coming from the village lot to move and flow through the site to Job's Lane. Elements of that fountain could potentially be reused as additional site furnishings or in the reimagination of that fountain. The staff parking, as I mentioned, which was previously a large expanse of asphalt kind of at the center of the site, is reimagined in brick and aims to create a more efficient layout for the functions of SAC, staff parking, loading dock, deliveries, the practical functions, but also through the paving, hedging, trees, and plantings improves pedestrian experience and the kind of aesthetic presentation of that backdoor entrance to the museum. A continuous and meandering walkway provides accessible access not just along the side of the building, but to the entire landscape as a whole. An additional pedestrian egress point has been added just off the west lawn, aiming to kind of improve the flow from that lot into the park and promote public access in. The existing brick walkways on the east side are maintained in kind. No changes to those walkways is proposed. Those walkways also allow visitors and residents alike to engage with the exterior sculptures, the landscape as a whole, providing a much more inviting and accessible experience of that landscape. The primary trees are all maintained minus one. Perhaps you could flip that plan for me. So the yellow trees are trees in the 2002 historic report prepared in conjunction with the Village Architectural Review Board and Historic Preservation. Those trees are all being maintained. The one tree being proposed for removal is a Japanese maple that's in pretty significant decline in conflict with the new access road for staff and loading dock, shown in red at the center of the site. And then 2 trees would be proposed to be transplanted to avoid conflict. So our commitment to really honoring and respecting those significant trees is at the forefront of the design. These improvements, remediation efforts, and ongoing maintenance supported by the generous benefactor ensure SAC is a landscape which has served as an amenity to the village for nearly a century or over a century, is preserved and maintained and accessible for generations to come. Happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the presentation to everybody. Ed, did you have any questions?
I don't really have any questions, just a comment that this is such a significant improvement and an asset to the village that I hope this is goes to the ARB in a speedy process.
Okay. Leonard?
Just one quick question. The SAC holds events on that lawn off of Job's Lane with the stage. Where will they be able to hold events outdoors under the new construct?
Certainly. So that central lawn will still be a site for events, as well as the west lawn at the rear of the property. Here is maintained open.
I see.
Where there's currently a tent.
Exactly.
I see. Okay, thank you.
The stage that presently is there is never used for the annual gala.
Right.
And I have to say, the stage is not the most attractive stage. Okay, I see Christina Strauss agreeing with me. Rob, did you have any comments?
I don't. I think it's an amazing plan. It will be a great thing for the village. I think part of the intent here is to get this done before next summer, I believe, so that it's done and an asset to the village by then. So no other comments.
Okay, Roy.
No, I think it's great. The tent, which is great because you have kids there and they're doing kid stuff, but you end up with a circle of dirt, which I don't think is so great. And I'm wondering what the idea is, how to address that going forward.
Are you referring to the tent presently on the northwest
Yes.
site? Going forward, that area would basically be created as an amphitheater. We're going to be basically introducing within the natural slope of the grounds, edging it with brick. So it's almost a natural organic landscape with brick steps on an arc manner, facing the end of that western edge where eventually, hopefully we're going to go in front of the ARB for the design of a bandstand.
That's not part of this application.
It's not part of this application. It's just basically a vision that we've had actually predating all this. This always was something in the back, proposed actually in that study back in 2002 that basically allowed for expansion of activities of the center and museum in that area. So this basically are footsteps towards getting to that.
Okay. Thank you both very much. And thank you. And Christina, you didn't want to add anything, did you?
No, I just think it would be a real enhancement for the village, and if we could proceed in a timely manner, then we can be ready for the 250th anniversary of our country, and people can really celebrate in the beautiful, lush garden.
Can I ask that these plans, this presentation that we've been given, be made part of the minutes for this meeting?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
And so we'll go now through the through the resolution that would be authorizing you as the tenant of village property to go to the Architectural Review Board. All right. So it's a little lengthy. Here we go. Whereas the Village of Southampton is the owner of real property known as the Southampton Arts Center Incorporated, hereinafter SAC, located at 25 Jobs Lane, Southampton, and further identified in the Suffolk County tax map as 904-015-1-24.001. And whereas the SAC is located in the Southampton Village Historic District and the Village Business VB District within the Arts and Culture Overlay District, and whereas the Village of Southampton previously entered into a long-term lease with the SAC, a not-for-profit corporation, for the purpose of providing a multidisciplinary community arts facility for the benefit of the public, and Whereas the SAC has submitted plans to the village demonstrating their intention to perform remedial maintenance and repair to the original arboretum on the property, which include the removal of some trees and installation of trees, rehabilitation of a garden and fountain, and also improve access and safety by installing new walkways and plantings and reconstructing a driveway and parking area on the property. And whereas the village has received the plans and is satisfied that the plans reflect improvements to the property which will enhance not just the SAC grounds, but the surrounding village area in general. And whereas the proposed work is classified as a Type 2 action under New York Codes Rules and Regulations 617.5 C1 and 8 as an action requiring no further environmental review, and whereas the SAC has a commitment from an unnamed benefactor who will fund the project, and whereas the SAC also has a commitment from a benefactor for an endowment to support and retain the planned improvements into the future. Now therefore be it resolved, the Village of Southampton Board of Trustees authorizes the SAC and their representatives to make the necessary applications to the Village Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation for a certificate of appropriateness for the current project and any other approvals or permits deemed necessary, including a review by the Superintendent of Public Works. And be it further resolved that the SAC will return to the village with any amendments or additions to the plans, at which time the village may require review by the village's engineering consultant at the SAC's expense. That is the motion. I make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, you guys get your plans ready for the ARB.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys. And sorry you had to wait so long. We had a lot of people here, as you know.
It was quite entertaining.
All right, Roy.
Whereas the Village Board of Trustees has been made aware that 2 village-owned buildings, the Shinnecock Firehouse and the Village Police Headquarters, require urgent repairs, and whereas the fire truck bay floor at the Shinnecock Firehouse has deteriorated to a hazardous condition, posing safety risks, and whereas the village has secured an independent report referred by the village insurance company to assess the broken elevator at the police headquarters, and whereas the findings state that the elevator is inoperable, unsafe to use, and service or repair is not a viable option since the unit is obsolete. And whereas the Superintendent of Public Works has received 2 proposals from LKMA Engineering for professional consulting, engineering, and architectural services. $32,000 for the rehabilitation of the truck bay floor at the Shinnecock Firehouse, $29,100 for the design and construction of a replacement LULA elevator at police headquarters. Now, therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees, recognizing the urgency of these repairs, hereby approves the above 2 proposals. So moved.
I will second. All in favor?
Discussion?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's a little curious to me. Does anyone know why the police building is how old now? About 12 years, 14 years
No,
old?
it was built in
Yeah, so-
2001, so it's actually
20
now
years?
It's over 20.
Right, so the elevator that was put in the police building, at the time it was built, was whatever company manufactured it went out of business the following year. So it became, over
right,
time,
thanks.
impossible
And
to fix.
thank you. And then this is just for the professional consulting engineering services to determine.
Basically for the drafting of an RFP, so they need to do the design and then put it out for proposals.
It costs us $30,000 roughly for each of them to create an RFP for this project?
Well, they're gonna do the plans for the, right, and create a RFP. I don't know, it seems like a lot of money to me too, but this is.
Seems like a lot of money to me.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Right.
But they are in very bad shape and need to be
Yeah.
dealt with. Because at this point, we can only use one side of the Shinnecock Firehouse because of the condition of the bay floor on the opposite side.
It's based on the, time and the time for
And
the
obviously,
engineer to do this.
to adhere to ADA regulations, we have to have a workable elevator at police headquarters.
And I know from Hunter College, which is a vertical campus, elevators are very expensive.
Yeah, I've installed several of them. I know they're expensive. I just, the elevator wouldn't surprise me. It's this
Yeah.
design work
Yeah.
surprises me.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had did you make the motion?
I did.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, nay, yep.
Okay. You don't want to fix these things?
That's not what I
Okay,
said.
okay.
I don't like this number. It's
Okay.
too much money, and I think it's not the right level of expenditure of village taxpayer money for these services. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. You have the next resolution, Rob.
Whereas the capital improvement expenditure for Veterans Hall exterior repairs has come in under budget, and whereas urgent new building repairs are now required, and the Village Board of Trustees has requested the reallocation of available capital funds, now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the use of surplus funds from the Veterans Hall project and approves the following budget neutral amendment to the 2025-2026 capital budget. Decrease building maintenance, Veterans Hall, new soffit fascia by $81,636.77, account H.1620.200. Increase 2 new police vehicles by $20,536.77, account H.3120.200. Add engineering services for the Shinnecock Firehouse project by $32,000, account H.1440.200. Engineering services for the elevator replacement at police headquarters by $29,100, account H.1440.210. I'll make the motion.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye. Nay.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Actually, point of discussion, what is the 2 new police vehicles for what can we buy for $20,000? Does anyone know?
There was additional,
There's already money in the account, right?
yeah, I think there was, they came in a little more expensive than we thought, so this is, we had to pay the additional money.
Okay, I mean, if this were broken out, I would approve.
It wasn't one.
If this were broken out, I would approve that and not the others to be consistent with the prior resolution, but it is what it is.
Okay. Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves Police Officer Charles Noble to attend Basic Criminal Investigation School from September 22nd, 2025 to October 3rd, 2025 in Pomona, New York. Registration, training, hotel accommodations, meals, and travel expenses are estimated at $3,886. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves Stephen Phillips Jr. and Mark Maddock to attend the NICOM Fall Training School from October 5th to 8th, 2025 in Lake George, New York. Registration, training, hotel accommodations, meals, and travel expenses are estimated at $3,150.08 total. That's for the 2 people. So I'll make the motion.
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Ed.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves Southampton Intermediate School to host their 8th grade kickball tournament on the baseball field at Flying Point Park, Downsfield, on Friday, September 12, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will go to, actually, we have one walk-on, I'm sorry, that has to do with a grant that is timely. So I'll make a motion that we have one walk-on resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, you want me to read this?
I can do it.
All right, you go ahead.
Before I read it, I'd just like to explain what it is. We don't have a site yet for the business district sewer system, but in order for us to keep on the map for the Environmental Facilities Corporation, which is a funder of grants for projects like this, we have decided to put forth to entertain this resolution so that we can stay on the map with the EFC so that they know that we're serious about applying for grant money for a sewer system when the time comes. That's why we're doing this. And we've done it in years past as well.
Who is the EFC?
Environmental
State.
Facilities Corporation is a state organization which funds projects like ours.
Funds things like our proposed sewer system, yeah.
Whereas the Village of Southampton intends to submit an application to the Environmental Facilities Corporation applying for a Water Infrastructure Improvement Act grant to offset the cost of the Phase 1 sewer system construction of wastewater collection and conveyance infrastructure in the village downtown area. And whereas the Village of Southampton has reviewed the project under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act and its implementing regulations and determines that the project is a Type 1 activity. And whereas the Village of Southampton has submitted the project for review to the New York State Office of Historic Preservation for a determination whether the project would adversely impact any state or national listed historic or prehistoric resources, and SHPO by letter dated May 15, 2023, has determined that the project will not impact such resources. And whereas the Village of Southampton is committed to funding the construction of the project using existing funds, grants, or bond funds as deemed most fiscally appropriate by the Village of Southampton. And whereas the Village of Southampton wishes to delegate to its mayor or his designee the authority to execute any document or instrument required by the EFC to apply for or affect the grant, now therefore be it resolved, the Village of Southampton has conducted environmental analysis of a former iteration of this project, which was contemplated but no longer is, to include a wastewater treatment plant at 1 Bowers Lane, and the location of which is now yet to be determined, and the full environmental assessment forms, parts 1, 2, and 3, for that previous iteration of the project is annexed hereto and made a part hereof, and which is anticipated to be updated accordingly. And be it further resolved, the Village of Southampton will request 25% of net eligible project costs from the Water Infrastructure Improvement Grant. And be it further resolved, the Village of Southampton authorizes the mayor or his designee to execute EFC grant agreements associated with the Village of Southampton EFC grant application for the Phase 1 sewer system, and all other contracts, documents, and instruments necessary to effect the Village of Southampton Sewer System Grant Project, and to fulfill the Village of Southampton's obligations under the grant agreements associated with the Village of Southampton Phase 1 Sewer System Grant Project. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Catch your breath, too.
Yeah.
I'll vote aye, if you're asking.
All in favor, sorry.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. So that was that. Now we can go to comments from board members, and we will start with Trustee Coburn.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to congratulate the participants in the Coopers Beach Sandcastle Contest, which I had the privilege, along with the mayor and Trustee Zananti, of being a judge. It was a well-attended and well-competed event, and I wanted to thank Matt Weeks and his team not only for conducting that, but also for wrapping up a really busy and well-administered and successful summer down at Coopers Beach. I'd also like to congratulate the History Museum and thank the residents who enjoyed both the cocktail reception last Friday and another successful house tour and Rogers Mansion reception on Saturday as one of their important fundraisers and a celebration of history here in the village. I do want to take the opportunity. There's some confusion among a few people, and I think the public should just be aware that landscape Chapter 65, which is our historic code, has since 1989 included a requirement that landscaping changes in the historic district must be reviewed and approved by the ARB, and that any material change in the appearance of the property, interior or exterior, including landscape, triggers a need for review by the ARB. I just think it's important. There's some confusion on that, and I wanted to make that clear. I wanted to make a comment that I'd like to maybe have a discussion at a future meeting that I hear from a lot of people that they'd like to have Pond Lane repaved before the winter. I know that's been a topic of discussion. I'd like to also, I'm willing to do some work on this, but we received a letter as a board, and I've heard from a number of people, the incidence of boxes and cables and loops of Optimum wire and Verizon wire hanging off of poles in the village has gone from, I think, 0 when I first moved here to probably 2 to 3 per half mile on streets. And we did receive a letter on it, and I'd like us to contact, and I'm willing to be part of this, contact those two entities and ask them to clean up their act. It's becoming, on certain streets, Post Crossing was the one cited in the letter, but it's rampant around the village, and it's their responsibility under the easement that they have to maintain these things, and it's become unsightly in some places. So I'd like to see us address that, and happy to help. I do want to put on the record that we had a lot of discussion on traffic. We did put in a provision in our resolution permitting the 2-week trial, that if anything were shifting significant traffic from one street to another or causing any safety issue, that it could be terminated by the mayor or the chief. And today I asked them to do that. They've declined, and I understand that. I'm not saying this to be pointed. I just wanted to put on the record, I think we have actually created some safety issues, in my opinion. And I think on that basis, this trial should be terminated. We've got a lot of data. I'm comfortable with the idea of continuing for another day or 2 or 3 without the traffic light to see what difference that makes. But I'd still like us to keep on the table that if those safety issues continue, a day or two or three into the no light version of this trial, that we consider terminating it. Lastly, I want to let people know, some do already, that I conduct Zoom calls to preview our agendas for, like this agenda, for tonight's meeting, the night before each meeting. I want to invite anyone who wants to participate in them to contact me through my village address. I'll include you on the distribution. I do this in the spirit of greater communication, which residents asked for, and I promised when I was running for this position. And despite some pressure from others to stop this practice, I believe it is and has been in practice helpful for people who have wanted to participate. It's not a forum for discussing merits or advocating any position. It's not an official village proceeding, and it's not part of the official record. So it's intended as an ongoing constituent service to create a wider and more consistent understanding of what's on the agenda and why. Those are my comments.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Coburn. We'll go to Trustee Simeoni.
Well, today is the 24th anniversary of 9/11, and at the time, my office was across the street from the North Tower, and my apartment a few blocks away. And after several hours, we were able to leave the area. So I just want to remind everybody, let's not forget, never forget what happened that day. Also, I'd like to encourage residents to contact Mr. Rung concerning the assessments and get his input on what is fair and how they can go about doing their grievances. It may be an opportunity to make the system fair.
Thank you, Trustee Simeoni. Trustee Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustee Coburn and I had the privilege of attending the Agawam Host Company's clam bake the other day, and it was a real privilege to go to the antique barn, spend some time with our volunteers, see what they're doing in terms of renovating some of our older fire equipment, which is truly beautiful, and to, especially today, 9/11, to appreciate that these guys, when push comes to shove, are willing to go running towards the bad stuff that's happening, and we all owe a huge debt of gratitude to them. We did have a moment of silence, but I just wanted to say that they're all in my prayers. I actually bought the toy store that I currently run like 2 or 3 days after 9/11. The world was in chaos, and certainly the world changed, significantly after that day. And so for me, I always think back to that as being a tremendous watershed in my life when everything changed so dramatically for our country. And just a quick note to say prayers for Mr. Kirk's family, who was cut down, and no one should have their life cut short just because of an opinion they're expressing. As a public servant, I'm especially cognizant of that fact, so prayers for his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. Trustee Zananti.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, today brings back a lot of memories. I, too, was at Ground Zero on 9/11 and saw the first tower come down firsthand, and don't usually lose it, but I lost it at that moment, thinking of all those poor people who were trapped in that building. Never forget is right. Traffic issue tonight was clear. It gives me new vigor to approach the Ed Romaine meeting next week with a heightened sense of seriousness, so that we can try to make that pilot permanent. We had a prep meeting today with Councilman Iacilli, Legislator Welker, Highway Superintendent McCardle, the Chief, and our consultant, and we think we're all on the same page, and we think we're going to make an effective presentation, and I will advise the clerk on how to put on who to write to on the website with respect to this pilot, as well as the speed cameras and the stop sign cameras. The Environmental and Sustainability Committee met last week and had a great presentation on groundwater and septic tank issues and funding to help replace aging septic tanks for residents. The presentation was made by Tom Varley from Stony Brook University. He works with Dr. Chris Gobler on all these issues and is familiar with the village. And Lynn Arthur, who's the new executive director of the Lake Agawam Conservancy. I was so impressed with their presentation because of the effect on the village of not upgrading these septic tanks and how that's adding to our problems with nitrogen and pollution, that I've invited them to come to our work session on the 23rd to make the presentation so that the village can hear it and enjoy it. The program they are endorsing, which they will explain at the 23rd, is the residential septic replacement program and how to get that funded in many cases at 100%. And lastly, I did enjoy being a judge for the Cooper's Beach Sandcastle. It was a real pleasure, that competition. The imagination by the adults and the children in their respective categories was incredible, and it was a fun day in the village, for sure. And I wish everyone a good and peaceful night.
May I just, the trustees and Andy, thank you for bringing up this water quality. And I wanted to mention to people, in addition to the presentation they'll make on the 23rd, they'll also have a booth at the Southampton Fest, I believe, to give a little more detailed information and answer some one-on-one questions. So I think it's an important initiative to support.
I think over 50% of the nitrogen comes from septic systems into Lake Agawam, so they have a very vested interest in helping people replace their systems. So it's a very worthwhile presentation.
Thank you, Trustee Donati. I would just add, yes, I too enjoyed the Sandcastle contest down at Cooper's Beach. We had a good showing of young people and adults. On the 9th, earlier this week, I did go before the town board. They were sitting, listening to applications for the CPF water quality money that they are able to provide to municipalities throughout the year. And so I presented, along with our engineer at LKMA, the Taylor Creek Habitat Restoration, which is basically redoing the culvert that runs under Boyson Road that has failed. And so it is a comprehensive redo of that culvert and the little bridge that goes over it, so that the water can flow freely between the major part of Taylor Creek and the end of Taylor Creek, which is on the north side of Boyson Road. This does empty out into Shinnecock Bay, Taylor Creek does. So again, it is thought that this will help the water quality of Shinnecock Bay by opening up all of Taylor Creek once again. The part that now is to the north of the failed culvert has been completely choked by Phragmites. Certainly nothing is really living in that area. I am told if we put in this culvert with a natural bottom, a stone bottom, we will actually be able to support fish going back up into Taylor Creek there. Alewives and some eels, I am told, would live there. And so, again, it is hoped that, again, we will be successful in getting this grant from the town. It's just over $500,000. And I've pledged that we would put some money in as well to redo the road once again, it's resupported with a culvert. And so I think they will look favorably upon that, and I'm hoping that sometime in the next few weeks we will learn that we are successful in that. Other village bioswales for which we received money already from the CPF water quality, we're looking to do some more work on Old Town, especially the eastern shore that runs along Old Town Road. So that would be for the Old Town Pond, and then Wickapog Pond and Phillips Pond also have drainage coming in there from Wickapog Road. So we did get approval for, and money is again to be reimbursed to us once we do some work on bioswales on Wickapog Road. They would be very low grass bioswales that would again catch the water running off Wickapog Road before it runs into Wickapog Pond or Phillips Pond, which is off of Fowler Lane. On another note, the town trustees are going to be putting in a bioswale at the southern end of Lake Agawam, which is actually their property as it was filled in by the town years ago. So they are going to be taking out the cement median between the Agawam parking lot and, again, Gin Lane at that point, and replacing it with green bioswale. They are also going to narrow the road slightly to slow down the traffic as it whips around in front of the public beach, because it's just a wide expanse of roadbed. So that was approved by the town trustees, and they are telling me that they will begin work on Monday the 15th with that bioswale, again, which is really going to be in the median, much in the way that the medians along the West Main Street parking lot are now also bioswales. On the 10th, I met with other East End mayors and County Executive Romaine. I definitely spoke about traffic and the issue we have here. I talked to him about, again, the whole delegation that's coming up to his office in Yaphank. Thank goodness you don't have to go to Hauppauge. The office in Yaphank next week. And I will be up at the NICOM fall meeting with Jerry Larson, the mayor of East Hampton Village, along with many other mayors from the state of New York. I find you always can learn something at those meetings, and so that's very helpful. And then I just wanted to mention that on the 20th of September, the Archbishop of Constantinople, New Rome, and the Ecumenical Patriarch will be visiting Southampton and staying at the Southampton Inn. He will be also a guest of Father Alex's at the Greek Church out by Shinnecock, and his official title is His All Holiness the Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew, and he is head of the Orthodox Church. So it will be an honor to have him in our midst, and you will see actually in the village news that went out to all the residents. There is a little piece on the Bartholomew. He's known as the Green Patriarch because of all of his decades-long commitment to protecting the planet. In keeping with that mission, he's coming to Southampton and will be doing an event at the Marine Center at Southampton College. I did also just want to mention that I have met with LKMA, our, again, village engineer, to redesign Pond Lane so that it will not have runoff go immediately into Lake Agawam. So that is the first step to redoing Pond Lane. If we're going to repave it, it's going to be done in a proper way. And so LKMA is working with the village to redesign the road so that, again, the road runoff will not go directly into the lake. It will actually be pitched to the inland side where there will be a bioswale. So that is underway, and I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. With that, I would say that we can adjourn, but we have to go into executive session. I believe our counsel here wants to discuss with us a legal matter. So I will make a motion to end this part of the meeting and go into executive session if I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you. It's 9 p.m. The village board is coming out of executive session where no action was taken. I will now make a motion that we close this meeting of the Village Board of Trustees. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you very much. Good night.